Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Even though I'm still on time, on time gang, hashtag on time gang. What's up, everyone? I have no idea if the sound is working properly, so let me know. Just sat down. Yeah, definitely on time. 1 second, sorry. I just got my, gotta let it brew for 4 minutes, but I was rushing because I forgot it's Saturday morning, so I needed my my coffee. My dark roast here, my nice French press. So I'm just gonna let that brew for a little bit. But I hope everyone's doing pretty good. Yes. What's up, Jag? What's up, Shay? What's up, Dark Nuts? Jag, yes, it goes up on YouTube. It does go up on YouTube. I had a few issues. So the first, yes, all the boot camps will go up on YouTube. Hit exclamation point YouTube. It'll give you the link to YouTube. I had a couple issues with the last 2 videos I uploaded, so I just had to trim out some of the audio. So we're now listening to a royalty-free playlist. The two most recent videos for the bootcamp week are they're uploaded. They just got taken down, so I'm just resolving those. So yeah, absolutely. 1 second, I'm just starting up my VM. Usually I wouldn't be using a VM for this. I'm testing it out. I'm seeing how I used to use my Pop! OS laptop, kind of going through my desktop for this, but I want to try VM for a number of reasons. The biggest of which is it's kind of easier to manage what's going on all the screens. I have a lot of screens, or a lot of screen real estate. I only have 3 screens, not only, but I have 3 screens. Okay, today, what are we going to be doing today? So first off, welcome to Pipelines, a journey into software delivery, automation, and infrastructure. Now that we got that out of the way, welcome. I'm sorry that this is the bootcamp that had to take the Saturday seat this time. And the reason it took the Saturday seat is because, and again, some people love Saturdays, a lot of people don't. The reason it took the Saturday seat is because this is the first intermediate level bootcamp that we're running. And because it's the first intermediate level bootcamp we're running, you all are a bit of an experiment. This is going to be a bit of an experiment to see how an intermediate level course, how it should be run. So we've run, this is the third time we're running boot camps. We ran boot camps. Our first kind of inaugural session, we did 12 weeks DevOps boot camp back in August of 2019. So we went August to November of 2019. It was 12 weeks. That went pretty well. Learned a lot through that. We reran that boot camp starting January 1st. We also ran an introduction to coding with Python course starting January 1st. So far we've run 3 introductory sessions, and I think we've learned a lot. I think I've learned a lot about how what kind of goes into those, the pacing of them. I think scale is going to make things a little bit different, but I think we learned a lot there. So that's why we're running 2 of those now. So we're running 2 more right now. We're running Decoded and Horizons. One is cloud computing with AWS. One is software engineer, a journey into software engineering and computer science. So if you're interested in either one of those are on Monday through Thursday is when those are. So this is the first intermediate session. So that does not mean that if you are brand new to this stuff, you can't participate. It just means that you're going to be lost at a lot of points, but that's okay. I think you'll still pick up a ton of stuff. I think that we've done a bad job in the educational industry. I think we've done a bad job of making people feel like they gotta really know everything about something before moving to the next thing. I think there's a lot of learning happens through immersion, through osmosis in that immersion. So yeah, so don't sweat it if you're brand new. We will not be spending as much time on covering the basics of things at all. But that's kind of what today's for, and to give you a chance to kind of dive into some other stuff. But I highly encourage everyone to, even if you don't think you're ready for this course, participate in it, sit through it. You'll learn a lot just by being here. What's up, Javier 12345 4321? I like it. What's up, Frequency Hop? Thank you for the compliments on the setup. So let me just usually we give people until about 10. We usually give people 5 to 10 minutes to kind of get in and get settled and get going. Yes, the beginner bootcamp, there's an entire playlist on YouTube. Just type in YouTube. You can find it there. It's a little confusing because there are 2 bootcamp, there are 2 DevOps bootcamp playlist there. It is the one that just says DevOps. One says DevOps August 2019. one just says DevOps. The one that just says DevOps is the one for this. I'm going to share that actually later for sure. And if you join the Google Classroom, which I'm going to give you information on in a bit, it will have links to that as well. So first thing first, let me pour this coffee. I'm going to plunge it first. For anyone who's ever seen French press before, I'm just pushing all the coffee grounds down. Oh, it's such a satisfying feeling. And it separates the coffee from the grounds. And then I pour it in my nice cup here, my little cup that'll keep it warm because I won't drink it super fast. But just to get a little bit of information. Nice Saturday morning start, even though 10 o'clock's not crazy early. I know that. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Even though this is not Folgers, I'm fancy, I guess. I bought some fancy coffee just because I had the French press. I'm not really a coffee. I drink coffee purely for what it does, not really for the taste. But I've learned to like it a bit. What am I looking for over here? I got a lot of stuff on my desk. Oh, also, I always forgot to say it in the other boot camps. I'll give information out, but I am doing some, there was been a lot of love and a lot of support for the boot camps this week. So I did pick up some Google Home, Google Nest Minis. I will be giving those away. There's a third one. There's one for each of the boot camps. I'll probably do a couple giveaways throughout the thing to encourage people to, participate. And probably for, best question asked one day or something like that. So just keep an eye out for what we'll be doing with those. But yeah, these are like the little Google Home things you can talk to. You can say, hey Google, sorry if I set off your device, and you can ask the questions. You can use it to control your house and stuff. We use them. I use them. They're pretty cool. I just picked up a couple. Mushroom coffee. I can do mushroom coffee. I do like mushrooms and I do like coffee. That means that mushroom coffee it seems that it would be perfect. Hold on. I'm almost ready. I'm sorry. Fresh this. Also got my water. As you all know, the regulars will know that we're usually drinking LaCroix when we're in the office, but we're not in the office, and I got to pick some up on my own dime, unfortunately, not the office's dime. But let's 10:08. Let's dive in. So let me switch back. Academy view. This is the view you're probably going to be looking at most of the time. This is going to be our Linux VM, but today we're going to go over a little. So this is the first time I'm running 3 boot camps. I won't do this next time. Right now I'm going to give you a little intro for people who are brand new to Twitch. Intro about myself, intro to Twitch, why we're using it, and kind of what you can do on it. Just to I'm going to run through that pretty quick because I think a lot of people have been here for some of the other ones, but I'll go through that pretty quick. Next time I'm just going to make a video so that people can reference beforehand, so that it's always there, always available, so that I don't have to take up time on the first session to do that. But then we're going to dive in and we're going to do a little bit of an overview of the entirety of the last course. Just talk about what DevOps is and kind of some of the pillars and pieces. We'll talk about what SREing is, or Site Reliability Engineering is, a little bit about the differences because it can be confusing. And we'll also, it'll also be a discussion. And then we'll also dive into what we're going to be doing here. So this is going to be a little bit different than the beginner courses. This is going to be almost purely exploratory and project based. So really in the DevOps beginning bootcamp, the intro to DevOps bootcamp, we really did cover all the topics, but we didn't get to dive into all of them, and we didn't get to contextualize those things and really start to build things with them. So this time, this is going to be scenario based. I'm going to give you all the scenario today, and we may start putting some stuff on a Kanban board. Again, we only have 8 weeks, but I think we're going to be able to get through a lot of it. I have some base infrastructure set up that I'm going to be able to give to you all. And I think we're going to have a good time. I think it's going to be interesting. Some stuff will be tough, and we'll decide, whoops, that is not feasible for us to get through. That's kind of stupid. We'll try some things out. We'll pivot. Sometimes I'll intend to use some tools and we may use something else, or it's all about, again, contextualizing those things. So we will cover a bigger topic. The topics that we'll cover will be a little bit bigger, a little bit broader. Things like different deployment methodologies, things like canary deployments versus green blue deployments, and things like that, and actually seeing that in action. But we're actually going to be building out infrastructure. Like, we're going to be building these things and making them applicable. We're going to have you know, a full set of infrastructure with a bunch of services that are going to be running, and we're going to have to go through and we're going to have to adjust those things accordingly. So that is what we are going to be doing. Just DevOps is here, or just round 2 of intro to DevOps? This is no, this is so this is, I adjusted the way the courses work. So the intro to DevOps was just an intro to DevOps course, and there was going to be a different intermediate one. But now the way that the courses here will work is they're actually going to be end up being 5 disciplines, but they will each have 3 levels of courses. So they'll have an apprentice level, which is the beginner, and so that's what I'm kind of equating that intro to DevOps course to. It's going to be this one, which is the journeyman level, which is the intermediate level. There's going to be a master level that happens as well. So there's going to be 3 levels of each boot camp. Those different disciplines are going to be this Horizons, so that's cloud computing; Decoded, which is software engineering. It's going to be this one, which is pipelines, which is DevOps and kind of SRE work. There's going to be one called Domination. If you're not familiar with web development, the document object model, there's going to be Domination, capital DOM. It's going to be for web development. And I forgot the last one that we were going over. There's one more, but I will get it to you. Oh, let me do a commands add on website. That's pretty good. Commands add website. I'm gonna do HTTPS. It's academy.mastermind.io, and I'll send you straight to the journeys page since you're already here. Whoops. Wait, I have to fix that. Commands. Man, I cannot type, but you'll learn that about me. Commands remove website. Okay, and then I'll take this, I'll copy and paste it without the period at the end. I'll paste it again, and now you can do website, and it'll take you to the journeys, the journey section of the website. So cool. Let's pull up the slides for today. So we are going to first dive into Twitch real fast. We're gonna run through this faster than we've ever run through it before, because like I said, I think you all are, I think a lot of people here are pros. I was not a pro. I'm still not. I do stuff here on Twitch, and I'm still learning every single day. I've had a bunch of people help me out, like Coding Garden sent me a nice message, show me how to track my, like, the things that are happening. Like, I have a whole activity feed. See, I bookmarked it right here, so I can actually see what's going on, but I have it pulled up on my main desktop. Oh man. So I'm gonna get you all the link. You're not a lot of you aren't in the Google Classroom yet. A lot of people are, but I'm gonna get you the link to the bootcamp intro. No, not this one. This is the old one. I'm gonna get you a link to this until you get into the Google Classroom. But the slides for today are in the Google Classroom. If you are following along, I can see a bunch of you are already here. So let's share this. And again, if you went through the intro, some of this is going to be a lot of this is going to be, you know, an overview and a rundown. It's the level set. We are going to learn some new things today, but it's going to be the level set everyone to help everyone understand where I'm coming from, because DevOps and site reliability engineering can be such a debate on what it actually is, and that's okay. That's completely okay. Share this in the chat. We just need to make sure that we are talking about the same things. Make sure that we're talking about the same things. But first, I'm going to use a little bit of this Burt's Bees and get another sip of water. You know, because Burt's Bees might not be around for very long, because, and I don't want to be spreading gossip here, but with those murder hornets here in the US, possibly those murder hornets, you know, they attack honeybees. I watched a whole like 10-minute video on it yesterday, and now I'm an expert on both the Asian murder hornets and the honeybee problem. And it'll actually be known that Asian and European honeybees actually have developed a defense against these wasps. And the problem is these American honeybees, or whatever honeybees we have here, maybe they're European honeybees, have not developed a defense yet. Defense is very interesting, actually. The defense is they crowd, they attack the bee, they don't sting it, they don't sting the hornet, they wrap their bodies around it, they get a bunch of bees, get around the hornet, and then they vibrate themselves, and it heats up the middle, and they basically cooked the hornet. It's pretty dope. Nature's scary. Now you know that you learn. I always tell you, you learn more in this class than just tech. Now you're experts on the animal kingdom, and I'm glad I could do that for you. Appreciate it. Yeah, right. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, how can we educate the bees? Like, how can we tell them what to do? But it's evolution. It's evolution. It's really unfortunate. So it's not a problem yet. They've only found a couple of them here, but if they do find swarms of them, it will be a problem. Okay, that coffee's pretty good. All right, let the journey begin. Welcome to Mastermind Academy. Let's get going. Again, third time this week I'm having to do this. I'm sorry if you're hearing this over and over again, but my name is Aaron Brooks. For anyone who doesn't know, you can call me Aaron. Feel free. That is a link to the video if you're not sure what that means, but go ahead and call me Aaron if you feel like it. A lot of people do. I like it as well. I'm a DevOps engineer. And I'm a technical lead of an application team. Actually, I know that's weird. I'm not a technical lead for a DevOps team. I'm a technical lead for an applications team. And I have about 8 years of industry experience. That's the low end. It can be argued I have about 11 years of industry experience, but yeah, we'll go about 8 years. That's the lowest and feels safest. I'm 30. I'm married, no kids, but I have a dog. You'll hear the dog barking. You'll hear the dog barking sometimes. She is a Rottweiler named Maya. She is super friendly. But she barks a lot. So you'll hear her whining as well. She does have a little bit of, she has some health problems. Sometimes she's in a little bit of pain. So you might hear her whining sometimes too, but we'll try to keep her comfortable. I love cars and I love motorsports. They make me happy. I drive a nitrous blue Focus RS. I love it. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, as much as I do, but it's pretty dope. I don't really care about fancy cars. I don't even care about really like fast cars. I like cars that perform well, that handle well, nice power delivery, things like that. I do intend on competing in global time attack. So I do want to do more tracking. I was actually planning on doing it this year. Part of the reason why I got the Focus RS, but with COVID that messed up some things, but maybe I'll still be able to participate. I don't know when things are going to come back. But I'm an overly competitive but extremely average gamer. We're gonna be doing so lately I've been playing a lot of games, especially being in the house. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of games. And I'm a very competitive person, but I'm an okay gamer. Like I'll have my games where I'm killing, like sometimes, you know, I'll play some Call of Duty, Warzones or something, and I'll come in third place overall and I'll get 10 kills, and then I'll go 3 games straight where I die as soon as I land. So I don't know, I'm average, but I get angry when it happens. I did pick up this this stream tag, Stone Cold Stream Austin. Feel free to go follow that channel if you want. There's also a Mastermind Gaming channel, but probably not going to be doing anything with that. That's for a different reason. That's going to be to help out some we're actually working on some esports ventures. I'm in Baltimore. I didn't put that in the slide, but I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. We're actually working on some esports things to kind of bridge the gap between the technical industry and the gaming industry, and just a fun way to kind of engage with the kids here. That's probably what that channel will be for, but Stone Cold Stream Austin will be for the fun stuff, so check it out. I'm a beer fan. I love stouts and I love porters. Actually need to throw this away, but last night I was drinking a little bit of a porter here, a new porter for me. It's not focusing, but that's fine. This is the Duck Rabbit. It was okay, not the best, but pretty good, new one for me. But I like pretty much all beers. I try not to drink it as much now because I'm trying to lose some weight. But yeah. And I wish I was a fighter pilot. I still wish I was a fighter pilot. I think it would be pretty cool. But I'm too big for a plane cockpit, for a fighter jet cockpit. I was told that when I was pretty young, and it hurt my feelings. But it was true. Like I said, I've gotten to go sit in or at least go try to sit in a fighter jet cockpit before. And it was in fact absurdly small. There was zero chance that I was ever going to be able to fit in there. So unfortunate. And you can reach out to me on every social media platform at mastermind.io. This will be on the next slide as well, so don't if you miss it, no big deal. What's up, Supreme Sensei? Towson, you in the house. That's what's up. Good to see you. What games? Sicko 93. Right now I'm with some of my other engineering and tech friends. I play Call of Duty, Warzones, Modern Warfare Warzones, and I I generally play a ton of Overwatch. Overwatch is like my favorite game right now, but I've been playing more Call of Duty recently, and I do play what else do I play? I just started playing. I got a Valorant beta key. Just started playing Valorant. I can see that I'm gonna like that game. Again, it's a competitive shooter. Feels risky to do things, and I kind of like that. It's a little boring to watch though, so I probably won't play that much on stream. But yeah, those are the games I play. I do play on PC, but I'm down to do whatever. I have not won any war zones yet, but I would say that I'm in the top 5. My team is in the top 5, and probably 60% of the games that I play. So I haven't learned how to play, like strategically play that last little bit when the circle's super small. We're gonna get there. We're definitely gonna get there. Yeah, I'm in FPS games. I'm also gonna start playing. I really love the Gears of War series, so I'm gonna play Gears of War Tactics pretty soon. So I might play that on here. Doom, but also like I play a lot of casual games as well. You can see that there are Pokemon on my wall back there, so I do have a Switch here. I play some Pokemon. I play Smash Bros. I'm never good at Smash Bros, Mario Kart, all that stuff. I play games. Games are fun for me, and it's something that I do. Okay, so methods of communication, these don't work. So I still did set these up. When I made these slides a while ago. I fully intended on sticking these in. I never set these up, I don't think. So these don't work, but Slack does. So if you want to get access to our Slack channel, hit !Slack. We'll learn about that in a second. If you have no idea what I'm saying when I say use these, you're about to learn about that. Which you can email me if you'd like at academy@mastermind.io. I'm almost through getting through all the messages. There's always an influx week 1 of messages, so don't be concerned if you haven't heard anything back and you message me on any platform. I am so close to being caught up on all the platforms. A lot of people have reached out to help me with Discord. I really appreciate it. I'll get everyone set up on that today. Yeah, I'm right there on being caught up, and I should be able to keep up after this. We just have way more viewership than I expected, to be 100% honest with you. So reach out to me on any of these methods that you like. Twitter, LinkedIn and Twitter are probably the best 2 places on social media to get to me. I would highly recommend reaching out to me on LinkedIn, to be honest. All right, so Twitch intro. We're here on Twitch. Why are we here on Twitch? We're on Twitch. Twitch is a gaming platform. It's a game streaming platform, game broadcasting platform that was made. I want to say it was made in like 2011. I have no idea. I made that up. I thought I saw that somewhere, but it was made. It's now an Amazon company. Amazon purchased them for an enormous sum of money, and now it is under Amazon. We're using it purely because it has a lot of levels of interaction. So I found that when I actually was watching someone stream coding and tech on YouTube, and for me that was fine because the topics that I was learning were I already had a big base underneath. I was just trying to pick up this new little skill, and I could see that people in the chat were kind of having a little bit of a struggle, and then just the level of interaction just wasn't all that appealing to me until I saw someone live code on Twitch. First I saw there's a woman who streams on Sundays who does open source stuff by the name of Noopcat or Nukepat. I think it's Noopcat, cat with a K. She does some like open source stuff, and it was engaging. It was pretty fun and engaging. It was super chill, and I was doing some work and I was watching her, and then I found a guy named The Prime Again, and we streamed. We rated him the other day, and like he just made it super entertaining for me. He made it like incredibly entertaining, and it was nuts. I was like, yo, I love this. Like I would happily use my time to tune into this as if it was a TV show, to also learn some things. So I figured we would try to do the same, and that's what we're creating here. That's what we're trying to create here. And again, I just think the community on Twitch is cool, and I really want to be a part of helping that grow. And also, to be honest with you, the monetization models a little bit, because it's an Amazon company, a lot of people have Amazon. It makes it easier for people to support the channel if need be. So we're gonna talk about that, but commands, chat commands. These are super important. It's a great way in Twitch to allow you to get the information you need when you want it. You've probably seen people already typing in things that begin with an exclamation point. They begin with an exclamation point, and that will initiate a chat command, and it will allow you to be able to get information you need. You can try a few of them. They don't all work. There's a few down below in the panels down below that should work, I believe. There's still a few I didn't get set up. Week 1 has been crazy. I will get everything set up. I promise you. but yeah, so check it out. You can type in exclamation point commands to give you a list of all the commands. It'll give you a link to a list of all the commands. So try it out. Feel free to try it out. So let's run through this. What's up? I am the chosen one. I like that. Y'all have some great names. What's up, Gowdy? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. So ways to support. I talked about that a little bit. So again, these boot camps completely free. There's zero requirement for you. The previous boot camps, I did require you to subscribe to be able to get access to the Google Classroom, but not anymore. Everything's free. I just want people to participate, have fun. But if you can subscribe on Twitch. These are a monthly payment made to Twitch partners. What it does get you is no commercials. Amazon Prime members can actually get one of these for free each month. And so that's one of the reasons why we're on here. You can give subs to other viewers, which we will do time to time. And people have been super gracious here to do that as well. There will be times when the chat gets way too loaded with questions and we're doing something complicated where I will put the chat into sub only mode, but that will not happen often. And then you get access to custom channel emotes. So like just a way to express yourself. I have some custom emotes at the bottom here that I'm going to send now. You get access to those if you're a subscriber. And you will get access to the Discord, which is not set up yet. You Discord folks are pretty passionate. I'm gonna get it all set up. It's there. You can join it. I know there are no channels. I'm working on setting up the moderation for that and who can mod it and the setup there. It's coming real soon, like today. So subscriptions is one way. Bits and sharing, you'll see people do this time to time. I just want you to know what's happening when people do it. This is basically kind of micro mini donations to the channel. And it will kind of pop up on screen, so you'll see it as it happens. But that's something you can do as well. And then donations, there's a donation link below. Thank you for everyone who's donated previously. Again, I'm not asking for donations. I'm just letting you know that this is a way if you ever want to support, feel free to drop a donation over. Appreciate that, Supreme Sensei. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to Dev08 for the bits. So raids, I think raids are fun. Raids are my most fun piece of, I love raids so much. So at the end of every stream, we're gonna raid another stream. This means that everyone that's here, everyone that's still watching, this is optional to participate in, but we'll go over to another stream. We'll always raid someone, or 99% of the time we'll raid someone in the science and tech channel. We will rotate between bigger streamers and completely new streamers, depending on the topic. But yeah, it's just a way to, I think it's a fun way that Twitch has to, one, just help the community grow, help you all find new streamers, because there are a lot of people in science and tech who are teaching a lot of cool things. I cannot stress to you how much I learned from just various channels around here and how much you can learn through osmosis. One of the best parts of being home right now is that like it's okay for me to just leave a streamer up, Twitch streamer up while I'm doing my work, and just like I'll just pick up all kinds of little things throughout the day, and we'll have some good laughs and stuff like that. But it's a cool way to interact with other channels and to help the science and tech community here on Twitch grow. I think the science and tech community here is a really dope thing, and I really want to help it grow. And then it's also a way for other people to know about Mastermind as well, to just see the dope community, for you to interact with them. And then we'll also be rated sometimes. Sometimes channels will bring their people over to us. And I want you guys to be kind. I want you to make people feel at home, say hello, and show them how dope you are. And yeah, it's just a fun little thing. So we'll do that at the end of every single stream. All right, Slack. Most people are familiar. A lot of people are familiar with Slack. Not everyone. I don't want to say most people either. But Slack is a collaboration tool that can replace email. It'll just help us work together. It's a messaging platform like Discord, if you're familiar with Discord. But it's the tool that's commonly used in technical workspaces. So feel free to download this. Hit ! Slack. It will give you a link, sign up for it. There's a lot of people in there, which is cool, but it'll allow us to have some asynchronous conversation. I think it's a great place for, while we're going through streams, I think it's a great place to sit and to put permanent questions there that you really need to answer to. I think it's a great place to start discussions. I think it's just a great place to have some resources. So check out Slack. We'll be using Slack for a number of things. Slack has a concept of channels and threads. Channels are going to be a single place for a topic. So maybe we'll have a pipelines channel that we can talk about things that are pipelines related. And maybe there's a decoded channel to talk about what's going on in that bootcamp. Maybe we'll have a random channel for you to post random things into. We have an introduction channel for you to go into to introduce yourself. And then threads are, these are to keep your discussions organized. It's a great tool to use. I'm only bringing this up because a lot of people don't know about threads. And you know what? I'm going to show you right now because I think I'm sharing my entire desktop instead of just the VM. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to go into mastermind right now. And I know it's small. Maybe I can control plus it. And so in here, let's say we go to Academy and see, I have a lot of like, this is even half my Slacks, but in here, this is Slack. It's the messaging platform. You can see messages are here, but for threading, all you do is hit the little button here that says start thread. And what it will do is I'm going to type, this is a thread. What it will do is it will now keep the whole conversation that goes on. It'll keep it right here, just like an email thread, so that when people come through, maybe you ask a question and maybe there's a bunch of discussion on it and we got some answers. If someone is watching later, if someone's watching this on YouTube or couldn't watch this week, they can go back and see that full conversation in one place rather than having to scroll through all these things. So try it out. Channels for all the journeys, appreciate it. See, I love the self-organization. I appreciate that. Okay, so just that's what threads are. Not super important that you're an expert on Slack, or if you mess that up, don't sweat it. Do not sweat it at all. Yes, voice chat in Discord is awesome. So Discord is right here as well. We do have a Discord. It is for subscribers only. And it's super dope because it has a great voice chat features. So if you ever just want to you don't have to get anyone's number. If you ever just want to talk to somebody, like you need help with something and someone's like, hey, you want to hop on this call real quick? You just put yourself in the little voice chat thing and you can just talk through it really quick. It is really good. We will absolutely be using that we'll be using that on stream for sure. So it's just something dope, but you have to be subscribed to join it. I think you don't have to be subscribed to initially get in, but I think it'll kick you out after a day or so. If you are not subscribed, it does some checking. It does some integrations between Discord and Slack. But yeah, ask. I'll try to help you out with that. But again, I'm still a little bit of a noob to Discord. So I'm trying to get up to speed with that. Okay, let's talk about course expectations. Again, I'm really sorry it feels weird saying this for the third time in a week, but this is the, last time we're going to run through this. I know there are a lot of people who haven't been here for the other stuff. So you see what you expect to see. Severus, a quote by J.K. Rowling in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Let's talk about expectations of the course, what you should expect, to get from it, and what I kind of expect from you participating in it. But again, I want you to have a strong understanding of the bootcamp discipline. So now we're talking about DevOps and site reliability engineering. So at the end of this, the primary goal is to understand what those things are, and kind of what you can do with them. This is the intermediate course, so the level of understanding is going to be a lot more targeted than the beginner course, because that was a super broad course. This will be as well, but the concepts will go deeper and they'll be a little more applicable to your daily job or what you might have to do. I want you to know where DevOps and site reliability engineering fits into the tech industry. What problems does it solve? Where does it fit? I want you to know how to use it to solve real problems. So I want you to understand how these methodologies and concepts will help you solve real problems. And then I want you to be able to know what the path forward is to be able to participate in the industry in this given discipline. So I want you to understand what steps you need to take, or what steps you can take to be able to get into the industry if you are not currently in the industry, or if you want to move from a different place in the industry into the thing that we're talking about today. Secondary, I want you to understand how to approach learning new concepts and technologies. This is super important for DevOps and SRE. Like, there's so many technologies. We'll talk about why there are so many technologies, but it's very, very important, and it can be overwhelming. It's one of the biggest reasons why DevOps seems so unapproachable. I want you to be at peace, being confused or lost. I think these secondary items are going to be inherent to a lot of people as we get up into the journeyman and master levels of courses. I think these are going to be some things that you've picked up over time. But if not, I want you to learn to be at peace, being confused or lost. There's going to be times in this bootcamp where I'm lost, and hopefully you all help me out. But it's okay, because we're going to be running through a lot of things. I want you to realize that no one knows it all. That's why I'm not, especially in this course, because this one is more exploratory. I am not going to, I'm not going to pre-do anything besides the initial infrastructure that I've already set up. I'm not going to pre-do any of the work, and I'm not going to prescribe what the answers are going to be, because one, I want you to see us fumble over some things so that you can see how we take a step back and how we solve those problems. I think it's a little more real than just, setting up a scenario and then hoping you come to the answer and then just giving you the answer. I think it's gonna be more fun if we kind of go through it real time. But we're gonna have guidelines for sure, that we're gonna have the bumpers up on the lane. And then I want you to have a strong belief that tech's for you, that you can thrive in it. If you're probably taking this course, you probably already believe that and you really want to learn and you're really ready to go, but it's for you. You can thrive in it. You can learn, you can thrive in it for sure. And again, we're going to be using memes everywhere. It's such an important way to get our point across. And then what I expect to see, active engagement. Everyone's been amazing at that first week. I'm going to be doing some encouragement to continue to do that. There's going to be assignments and things that encourage a little more collaboration. I know it gets harder and harder as, the motivation dies out from week one. But we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep the energy high. But I'm looking for active engagement. You'll get out of this what you put into it. I want you to ask tons of questions, ask away, no questions stupid. I want you to make sure that if it doesn't get answered in the chat here, that you get it into Discord or Slack so that your question can get answered. Make sure you get your question answered, whether it's by me or anyone else. I want make sure you ask your question, no matter how dumb you think it is, or feel free to look for the answer as well. If you don't get the answer immediately, or you feel like the answer isn't right, feel free to do your own research too, but ask the questions. Also answer the questions, whether or not you're an expert, whether or not you think you really know. Even if you just think you might know and you're not sure, say, hey, I think I know the answer to this, but it could be wrong, but this is what I think the answer is, and share that. I think it's great for discussion. I think this will start a lot of discussions, and you'll learn a lot just by having these discussions about things. Check out all the supplied resources each week. This course, because it's once a week, and because it's the intermediate course, will have substantially more resources each week than the other courses. That does not mean homework. It means just resources for you to look through. If you're not familiar with things, resources that'll help out. There's going to be reading. There's going to be articles and stories about implementation. There's going to be articles and stories about people's experiences doing some of these things. There's going to be many more resources. I let everyone relax for all the courses, really, for week one. Week one has been really light, just to get everyone kind of ready and get your mind primed a little bit. But yes, this will have the most resources each week. This one says spend at least 5 hours per week learning outside of this bootcamp. And for the intermediate courses, the intermediate and master courses, I'm gonna say 8 hours, 5 to 8 hours, but 8 hours per week learning outside of this bootcamp, I think is going to be necessary. Going to be necessary for you to get if you really want to spend this time efficiently. There's no, again, for the other two courses, there's a little more of an end goal. For this one, we'll learn about DevOps and SRE, and we'll learn why there can be really no super active or accurate end goal for this. But yeah, I would say spend at least 8 hours a week. And then those resources that I'll give you, those supplied resources, will help guide what you are spending your time learning. And then affirmations of progress. I want to know, I want to be able to follow and see what everyone's doing and what everyone's working on. I'm working on things as well right now. So although you all are going through these courses, I'm also doing my own learning path. I'm learning some things. I'm learning Rust. And I'm also studying for my AWS Solutions Architect Professional exam. And so as you're running through those things, I love to see, screenshots, images, just little statements of progress as we're going through the thing. No nuke for fun. This costs nothing. We'll always run these. The content will always be updated and changed, but it will never cost There'll never be a required cost to this. You can support if you want by subscribing or donating, but like not really, no required cost at all. Don't feel guilty. I just want you to participate. We're having a good time. Here's the goal. Here's what the real goal is. I'm always trying to be as transparent as possible. What the goal is now. Before, the goal was just to kind of have a good time, and the goal is still to have a good time. But now that we're getting some good traction, let's move the cost of training to to companies. Let's, the same way that people sponsor, all the gaming channels and things. I really think it should be, the talent is important. These engineering skills are important because they make companies money. So I think that the companies should support your learning. I think the companies should support your path forward. So we're going to start reaching out to some companies, pertinent companies that, we're using their tools and that are actually, a part of the technical industry. There's a number of companies that support a lot of things like DevOps days and things like that. But yeah, we'll figure some stuff out, but yeah, no required cost at all. So that's it for the kind of Twitch intro and kind of the generic bootcamp introduction. What time is it? 10:41. So expectations a little bit also about the time for this course. On the calendar, the course goes from 10 to 1, so 3 hours once a week. We will probably always hit that 3 hours in this course. Besides today, we will probably always hit that 3 hours. Again, I know 3 hours is a long time. Not important that you stick around for the whole time because the videos are available later. But I would encourage, for as much as you can, stick around because I think being a part of it live will help you a lot. And it'll help guide I think sometimes the questions and things that have come out of stuff like that, out of the live sessions, are super duper valuable. Yeah, and so now we're gonna take a little, minute or so break, get some water, and then we're gonna dive into the DevOps SRE overview to kind of get going. And again, for some people who have been in this for, have been a part of the last session, this is gonna feel a little, a little too, I don't know, just familiar. This is not it, but I think it's gonna be important, again, to level set. There's some stuff about SRE in here that was not in the previous slides, but this is not going to be the end. We're also going to be diving into what we're going to be what we're actually going to be doing here, because that's super important. Where am I going? Pipelines. There we go. There's a whole folder here. Okay, does anyone have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? Cophobia. So this one's a little bit different. I do have a bit of a breakdown. We have more so this time, rather than a week by week coverage of topics. We have a list of requirements kind of for the end goal. We're gonna get there. There's a GitHub repo that I'm gonna give to everyone after we get through here. Sorry, the dog is she's gonna knock over all the lights, but it's fine. It'll be okay. She'll make it through. And there it goes. You okay? All right. But yes, there is, that information is on the way. You recommend watching the first 8-week session? Yes. So that one's actually 12 weeks. So there's actually only 22 sessions there, but it's 12 weeks. I do recommend it, but I do not think that means you cannot participate in this one. So this one is going to, again, contextualize those topics. So I actually think you'll be able to, as we dive into something each week and we're talking about the concept and we're building something, I actually think you can watch that, and then I think you can go back and watch the course that was specifically about, CI/CD, or the course that was about monitoring and observability, to kind of understand what we did and why we did it. But I think there's some, again, I don't think learning has to be linear. I think that's been a weird problem that happens when you're studying to take a test. But I don't think it has to be as linear as we normally think it is. I think you can use those beginner courses, the apprentice level courses. I think you can use them as reference for the things that we do here. But yeah, I would encourage you, if you have the time, I would definitely encourage that you go through and you watch those. Okay. DevOps in, wait, any other questions? Did I miss any questions? All right. Just got an SRE role, no idea what course to get started on. Dope. Congratulations, Millis or Milas. Definitely congratulations. Sit for the Solutions Architect Associate on the 22nd. Dope. Frequency hop. Let us know how you do. Definitely let us know how you do. Again, don't stress if you don't pass. I did not pass the Solutions Architect Associate my first time. And that was after working with AWS for years. So don't sweat it. Go out, have fun. You'll do fine. If not, the second time, I guarantee you'll do fine. But let us know how you did. Either way, I think your experience with the exam will help a lot of people. Jag, yeah, the SA Pro is tough. The SA Pro is tough. It is. It's so, like, the scenarios are so intense. But yeah, it used to be much more of a reading comprehension exam. That was a tough part. But yeah, it's tough. But I'm gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it for sure. Elitist Games, I just got set up with live coders yesterday. Just yesterday. So it's I'm actually pretty excited about that. I'm pretty happy about that. I wasn't gonna, so I don't know. I knew about it and I never put it in the PR. Mostly because I think I went there. So it's like, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Sometimes, you go to something and the form is just a bit longer than you wanted it to be. And so you don't do it. And that's kind of what happened. I should have did it a long time ago. But I'm glad I finally went in and I did it. So that's been pretty cool. Okay, here we go. Let's do this DevOps overview, this DevOps Bootcamp overview, and learn about what we're gonna be doing. We're definitely not going to one today. We're for sure not going to one. Maybe until a little afternoon. But yeah, I'll get you out of here pretty early today. All right, I'm talking all that stuff. Let's start talking about real stuff now. What the heck is DevOps? Automate all the things. There's going to be a reason why we're starting off with DevOps and why the focus is going to be on mostly on DevOps concepts. It's not just because the first course was almost purely focused on DevOps. DevOps and SRE have substantial overlap. Again, I also want to caveat, these DevOps and site reliability engineering are terms that have meanings, but their definitions don't necessarily describe the way that they are used to function in the real world. The true definition of them doesn't really fit to, like, people are using them interchangeably for a lot of things. So again, this is just a level set about what the kind of underlying goals and definitions of these things were. But if your people are operating in roles that where it was just described as SRE and you're doing all sysadmin stuff, or like, I don't know, there's tons of overlap. People kind of use them all as catch-alls, so it's okay. They all do kind of go together in the real world. But we're gonna understand the differences between them because I think that's important. What is DevOps? According to Wikipedia, the source of truth. We do a lot of Googling here, so we don't need to do any fancy, we don't need to act like we read a book. We got this straight off of Wikipedia, and that is okay. But DevOps, a clipped compound word of development and operations, is a software development methodology. I should have bolded methodology. Software development methodology that combines software development, the dev, with information technology operations, which is the ops. And you put them together and you have DevOps. Amazing. It's two words that they split in half and put together, and we get a new word. But what's important out of that definition is a software development methodology. Note that word for now. This is not a good definition at all. Well, I wouldn't say at all. This is a true definition of what it is, but it doesn't really help explain what it is. So what is DevOps really? Here's a better version. This is not the correct version. This is a better version. But Nathan Harvey from he used to work at Chef. This is from back when he worked at Chef. He's pretty popular in the at least in the DevOps community, especially on the East Coast. He's at Google now, like Google Cloud, I believe now, and he does a lot of, he's like is the face of a lot of conferences. I know he helps run set up DevOps Days DC. He's helped with a lot of other things. He participates in a lot of things. But what they said here is DevOps is a cultural and professional movement focused on how we build and operate high velocity organizations. And I didn't bold the last part, but this whole last line should be bolded. But it's born from the experiences of its practitioners. This is, I think, the most important part. So let's take these two definitions really quick and talk about what DevOps is not. DevOps is not a field of study. Really, it's not a job, and it's not a what you do. It's a how and why you do. So I think that's what people get confused a lot. We'll talk about why people think it's a what you do. But yeah, it's a why and how. But it's a cultural and professional movement. It's a methodology. It's a way you operate, rather than anything else. But it's there to help you build and operate high velocity organizations. So I have a piece in here later. I think I'm pretty sure I have a piece in here later about it. But the goal really of DevOps is to help developers. Like, honestly, the original intended goal is to really help developers develop as fast as they want to, not as fast as they can, but as fast as they want to, or are required to. And so a lot of people usually get lost in the sauce, but DevOps, a lot of people confuse this with infrastructure, automation, things like that. The goal is to use automation to be able to do these things, but the goal is to set up pipelines. The goal is to set up services and tools to enable rapid software development. It's here to break down silos between development and operations. We talked about that. So what are these silos? These are these imaginary walls in between, the proverbial walls in between the business, development, and operations. So when a technical product needs to be developed, Twitter or anything like that, any technical thing, every company is a software company now. You have the business goals and the business requirements that are here. And generally, people in the business make decisions about those things, and then they throw those requirements over the proverbial wall. They're not really discussing with development. They just say, hey, we need these things done. We need our application to serve this many people. We need it to do this thing. It needs to have this feature. And they throw those requirements over the wall and say, all right, it's your job now, development, to figure out how to do this. And development takes it and they sit in their own silo, not communicating with anyone. And they sit there and they figure out how to do this business requirement that they didn't really have any communication on. And then they deliver it. They say, hey, we did it. We built the thing. And then they take that and they toss that over the wall. They say, we're done with it. Here you go, operations. Take this thing that we built and go ahead and run it. Make sure it's running. And then there's little or no communication here. And operations tries to run it. It doesn't work. And operations says, hey, this does not work. And they take this and they toss it back over the wall, back to development, because it doesn't work. And there's very little communication. This is a real thing. This is a very common paradigm for how software is developed. Software, big time software development is still relatively, it's still relatively in the world, like a new thing to kind of build software at the scale and speed in which we're doing it. So this process is pretty tough. So a nice little thing at the bottom here says Agile fixes the communication between the business and development. So understanding what those business requirements are and how they relate to what you can do technically. And it says DevOps fixes this. So the communication and the understanding between the development team and the operations team. And so what the goal is to really, have some communication there, really make that process one and the same. The operations and development kind of working hand in hand, working together to get things out the door. And again, to support each other. As a DevOps engineer, as a pure DevOps engineer, your customer is really not the rest of the world. Your customer is really the development team. Like that's how you can think about it. If you're thinking about pure what the goal of DevOps is, it's really to support the development team rather than the rest of the world. Your job may stop at getting the code built into some other environment. Like maybe You may not necessarily need to be the person managing the infrastructure. You may not be able to be like, a lot of times you do, but you may not be the person that's managing the infrastructure that this stuff lives on. But your goal is to build these pipelines, to build these feedback loops to be able to do this stuff effectively. And so again, it can be pretty confusing, but we're going to talk about it a lot. So what are some issues with this old way that we just talked about? Long release and feedback cycles. Why is that? Why does it take so long to get releases out and to understand what happens? And it's because, again, these walls are here. So instead of working together, each step is just kind of thrown over. So, it takes a while for all this to get done because, the requirements may have not been discussed properly. And there may be issues with deployment and things like that. So the releases take a long time to get out. But the feedback cycle, so because in this process, there's generally not as much of a focus on observability and closing a feedback loop, you don't really, like, something goes out into production, you may not have the right information that you need to determine whether or not it's been effective, whether or not it has, actually been beneficial. So that's a problem. Long mean time to fix. You'll hear this term a fair amount, mean time to fix. This is the time it takes for you to solve a problem once it's discovered, but it takes a while, and that's because of this long release and feedback cycles. They feed into each other. You are reactive to production issues. You're responding to them after they happen. You're reacting to them. Few or no people understand the entire software development lifecycle implementation. So whenever you see SDLC, that is what that means: the software development lifecycle. So the life a piece of software takes from idea and inception to delivering it out into production. Few people understand what happens throughout the whole process. There are a bunch of teams that understand different parts of it, but no one really understands the full scope of what happens. And it also creates an adversarial IT environment. You can see how if development is, saying, hey, we built this thing and it works, and you toss it over to operations whose job is to keep things up and reliable and working, and it doesn't work, you can see how there can be a lot of blame placed on whose fault that is when it works over here and it doesn't work over here. So it just creates an adversarial IT environment, which sucks. So that's the old way. And it's funny that I put the old way there, because even in places that are trying to participate in DevOps and try to implement DevOps and site reliability engineering, still have these problems for sure. DevOps is not something that is easy to implement. So DevOps is really processes, pipelines, and feedback loops. That's really what the methodology entails. It's setting up processes, pipelines, and loops for quick feedback. So you can see here we have this little infinity loop here that kind of really starts with the plan right here. So you plan what's going to be put out. You're going to work together to figure out what requirements are there and how you're going to solve them. You're going to code. You're actually going to build those features. You're going to build out those requirements. The build here is the actual build pipeline process. So your code commonly, because humans create a lot of errors, humans make a lot of errors and a lot of mistakes, you want to automate a lot of these things so that there's not a lot of human interaction. It's also faster. So you build those artifacts, you take that code, you build it, you get it into a format that's ready to go to people. You test it. You make sure everything's working fine. Testing is a pretty important part of the process. You want to be able to catch errors early. So this is kind of your first, these two, like right here, the build is the first place that you can kind of close the feedback loop. So if something fails to build, you can get that information immediately before it goes to the rest of the process. You can get that information and take action on it immediately. Same thing for tests. It builds, then it tests. If tests fail, you can get that information back quickly and make decisions about that before it gets released. So there's a bunch of steps in the pipeline, steps in the process that will save you. But after you test, you go ahead and you release. And so this is a little bit confusing. Release might sound like you're deploying it. It's debatable. In this view of it, release is just kind of creating the artifact. We will talk about that when we talk about CI/CD again. We will go over some of that again. Release is different from deployment, but deploy is actually putting the thing that you released, so whatever artifacts that you released, out into the environments that they need to be in. Operate is it is when it's running out in production. You know, when people are actually using it, that's the operate step. Monitor is getting information, you know, about that application going, that infrastructure, the application. Monitoring is watching it, making sure you're gathering meaningful feedback that you can use to make decisions, and then that feeds right back into the process. So you take that information from the monitoring, you take it from the feedback loop, and you plug it back into your planning, and you just kind of keep going. You're just going to keep going through the pipeline. So, and these are generally the differences. This is generally where the wall is, right here in the middle. Dev, usually, again, they get they plan for what they need to build, they code it, they build it, they test it, and then this is where they toss it over the wall. Generally, they toss it over, and the ops people, you know, will take that and they'll deploy it, and they'll be responsible for where it runs, and they'll monitor it. And then when there's problems, they'll toss it back over the wall to dev. So this concept is to really mitigate that, and the way that you mitigate it is by, one, just having lines of communication in place, and two, because of the way technology has evolved over the years, you can actually have these two processes operate in the same way. You can actually operate with your infrastructure in the same way that you operate with your code, and so that's what makes it a little bit interesting. But there's also a number of other ways in there. So the key DevOps principles: break down those silos, automate all the things, failures and opportunity to learn. There are actually, I think, two more main principles, but I think they're more of KPIs. They're more of like success indicators. These are the key DevOps principles right here. They're pretty important. Break down those silos, automate as much as you can. Everything can be automated, but automate as much as you can to make your life easier, make everyone's lives easier. Failure is okay. Why is failure okay? It's an opportunity to learn. And if you build these pipelines right, if you build these processes right, you can recover from these failures very quickly. You can get information about them quickly, and you can resolve them very quickly. Let's stop there for a second. I know there's a lot of chat going on, so let's answer some of the questions. Ask any questions about what we've talked about so far before we get into the next stuff. I know we're going through it fast. Again, for everyone new, this is the intermediate course, so we're not gonna linger on a lot of these concepts. We're gonna just breeze through them to level set, and then we're gonna move on to the real stuff for this. Yes, most people do not understand SDLC or CI/CD. I might share the slides for CI/CD here, because sometimes you're gonna hear me. Actually, we'll get there later. There's a part where we'll get there later, but that's very true. Are those devs and ops cycles same size and time? Because my biz team always assumes I can achieve ops cycle in 4 hours. Any more than that is just being inexperienced. Yeah. What is your ops cycle? But absolutely no. These cycles are not the same amount of time at all. Generally the dev cycles are going to be longer. A fair amount longer to be honest. But again, in DevOps, you don't really split them up. Your ops cycles are essentially become dev cycles, to be honest. But no, ops cycles can take forever, depending on what you're doing. Like, I mean, yeah, it depends on what your cycle is, but like, they can take forever. Being a self-taught dev, I didn't learn about this until I got my first dev job. Absolutely. That you won't. People don't teach it in the right places when it should be taught. A lot of this stuff, I don't know. I think the problem with entry into the tech industry is the focus on the tools and the skill, like the tools and the hard skills rather than the conceptual ones. When I started to understand the higher level concepts and what problems we're trying to solve, learning the tools was like, I instantly got better at the tools that I was already working with, and it was so much easier for me to learn a new tool because I understood the things it was trying to solve. Like, it takes a long time. I know you can't get it all up front. You need to contextualize it, but yeah, it's tough. Manually deploying on a single server to serve multiple clients. There is none. Interesting. Manually deploying in DevOps is a big no-no. I highly discourage it, period. But yeah. Oh, I can set a proper pipeline and release with this journey. Yes, you will absolutely. That is one of the main things you'll be able to do, is set, like, we're literally going to take your problem. What we have right now is you're going to learn that we have a really a mono repo. It's not even a mono repo. We just have a single server that has a bunch of applications on it that support an organization, and we are going to go through and we're going to modernize this. We are going to really set up some workflows. There's no automation in it, and we're going to add all of that: the pipelines, the automation, the fault tolerance. We'll handle the infrastructure. We'll understand how to serve this to, we'll learn about auto scaling. We'll learn about content delivery networks. We'll learn about a lot of stuff here. Okay, let's do this. Let's go past this. So those were key DevOps principles. And again, these are not there. If you go Google it, if you Google DevOps principles, you'll get some success principles, I believe, which will have 2 or 3 more than this. But here are some of the key, like, pillars and concepts that kind of people harp on. So one is programming and automation. So using code to automate the things that you're doing. Automation is very important in DevOps. Another thing you need to know is operating systems concepts, server management, understanding how to serve information. You need networking and security as well. CI, CD. People are probably confused by that second CD. That is continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment. And so these concepts are everything that the intro course covered. So if you follow that playlist, that's where you will get most of this stuff from. But CI, CD, infrastructure as code. This kind of ties into number 1, but this is really managing and creating your infrastructure via code rather than by hand. I know that might sound confusing. With infrastructure, these are your cloud assets, your servers, your buckets, your networks, things like that. Is configuring it and provisioning it via code rather than manually. Cloud computing. And so cloud computing is important in DevOps because this is what originally enabled, this was the original catalyst that enabled a lot of the DevOps methodologies and tooling, was cloud computing. There are ways to do this not in the cloud. There are ways to implement DevOps principles and things on premises. But I do want to make sure that the cloud computing is a huge pillar and concept of DevOps, because it's kind of what enabled it in the beginning. And then observability, making sure you understand what's going on with an application or service. So that's the DevOps concepts. Now, this is why everyone thinks that DevOps is a bunch of tools. It's like everyone talks about DevOps tools. And it's because it's a culture. It is a culture. It's a methodology, but it would not exist without the tooling. So it's enabled. We can do these things because of the tools, but it is not the tools. I know that can be confusing, but that's why. And so I want you to think about these tools in categories rather than anything else. I know this is overwhelming, but all the tools fall into these main categories to solve a problem. Tools are here to solve a problem. All the DevOps tools, they all fall into categories. And once you learn to categorize them, you only really need to learn one tool out of that category. And then you'll be able to interchange them. Like if you need to, you'll be able to move to the other one because you'll understand the thing is trying to solve. And so it'll be a lot easier to understand what's going on. So these are kind of the big level categories, the big concepts that they're trying to solve. And then it dives down a little bit deeper. So your collaboration tools, these are the tools here that allow the teams to interoperate, to be able to define their problems, define their tasks, to be able to task things out, to be able to divide up work, to really understand how to manage this project, and how to communicate. So that's the things that are here. A lot of the common ones, again, we're not going to be using, we're going to use Trello. We're not going to be using Trello. We're actually going to be using GitHub. We're actually going to be doing this for this course. We'll be using GitHub projects or whatever it's called. This is my second time using it actually. We'll be using GitHub for this. Jira is a super common one. It's probably the most common a lot of organizations use. But then there's communication things like Slack. We'll be using Slack. You can see that's number one up here. But it's like Microsoft Teams and stuff. And then knowledge sharing. So GitHub, we'll talk about GitHub and Git. But we'll be using, that's what we're using, GitHub, Slack, and GitHub's not here. Collaborate, build. So these are going to be your build tools. These are going to be the things that kind of exist in that CI pipeline, the CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and possibly continuous deployment. We'll be using a lot of these tools. We're not going to go through all of these things, but I'm just showing you the categories because I think the next slide actually shows you some stuff. Testing, some ways to test that code, some ways to deploy your code, Docker, and things like that. We'll be using things from all these categories, and then running your code. Where are you running it? We're going to be doing things in AWS, but like, how are you getting that stuff out there? What's the way you're orchestrating it? How are you monitoring it? There's obviously things missing from this. Obviously, there's so many DevOps tools. Look how many are right here. Again, learn the categories, learn a tool in those categories so that you know how to solve that problem. But that's about it. But roadmap.sh, this will help. This is what we based the original bootcamp off of. So feel free to go here. And so roadmap.sh is a really cool site that has some developer roadmaps on it. So if you want to become a front-end developer or back-end developer or do DevOps, you can find out the things that you should learn, the kind of the categories. And so you can see here some of the main things. They basically give you a main category and some of the options for tools that you can learn to pick things up. So you don't need to learn all of them, but for programming language, it's saying, hey, pick up one of them. It doesn't matter which language, just pick one. And the purple check marks are the ones that this person recommends. So they say, hey, you go into DevOps, I recommend you learn a programming language, and I recommend if you're going to dive in new, go ahead and pick up Go. Not a requirement, any of them will work, but that's kind of how we're going to do things here. So we may choose a tool to do something. It's okay if there's a better tool. We are not going for the most. This course is not to decide on the best and greatest, like the perfect architecture. That's not what we're doing here. That will actually be most of the things that we're doing in the master level course of this. We will be really diving into those things. But we will be learning how to, decide how to choose. We'll be choosing things that work. We'll be choosing things that work for us. So again, we'll be picking technologies. We'll be using some cool things there. So like, as we're going through the categories, pick up one thing. Pick up just one of the things. Here, learn Linux. Just pick one of the distributions. But yeah, there's a lot of information here. I recommend you checking this out if you've never seen this before. We are going to do some configuration management. We're going to decide if we want to do anything with containers. And so this is going to be a decision that we're going to make as a group. And when we get into deciding what this digital transformation for this infrastructure is going to look like, CI/CD tools, we'll pick when the time is right. We're going to be obviously setting up some pipelines, but we're not going to be prescriptive. We're gonna choose at the right time. Maybe we'll use GitHub Actions because it's the newest and we're already going to be using GitHub, so maybe it makes the most sense just because it's right there. But it's also pretty junior in compared to these. It's very new in comparison to some of these other options. Jenkins is the true original and it's the most robust, but it's also like the hardest to get set up and the hardest to kind of work with. And some of these cost money, so maybe do we want to do that, and do we have integrations? We'll learn how to approach those topics and figure those things out. So yeah, run through this, check it on out. Check out some of this stuff. Don't be overwhelmed. A lot of tools in DevOps. Again, super overwhelming for someone just taking a look at this. Remember, go back to Nathan Harvey's slide, and it says DevOps was born out of the experience of its practitioners. So a lot of decisions and things that have been that are done in DevOps, a lot of things that the problems you have to solve, it really helps if you've seen those things before. So I don't want to say unfortunately, there are tech industries changing a lot, but I will say that if you are a true beginner, it is tough to walk straight into the DevOps into what a DevOps role is. It's pretty tough because again, it comprises of everything from the software development lifecycle, so it can be pretty tough. But the good thing about this is you could pick up really well one of these pillars, like one thing on that roadmap, that SH. You know, if you just learn the cloud, or you just learn Linux, or you just learn CI/CD, you can go be a release engineer, you can go be a Linux administrator. You can get into the industry if you just learn a programming language, you can go start out in development and kind of work your way in. And you can you can learn all these concepts, you can learn these things, but also be in the industry learning and working. So I just wanted to be clear about that. Like, as opposed to programming, there's a lot of there are junior and entry level programming positions. I've seen a lot of junior cloud engineer positions that are more sysadmin focused, but there's some more junior ones. DevOps and site reliability engineering is a little bit tougher to walk into, for sure, but that's why the salaries are a little bit higher. And by a little bit, I mean they can be a lot higher. We're gonna talk about that today as well. But yeah, beginners are shaking their shoes. You're a beginner, it's okay. I promise you, you're gonna get so much out of participating in something like immersing yourself in this stuff is so helpful. I wish that I would have been I wish that someone would have told me to kind of start taking a look at more difficult things earlier on. I can't tell you how many times I've been thrown into the fire to learn something that I had no idea about, and how you have the target up here that you're supposed to hit, and so you jump up there and you're trying to understand what's up here, but what is down here. But what you're able to do is you're able to start to connect things from both ends. You start to take what you know and to take what you're learning, and you're able to meet in the middle. And you're like, oh, dope. Now I got it. I've bridged the connection between what I knew and what I didn't know, and I've kind of gotten it. It's a little more, again, a lot of it's exploratory. A lot of what you're gonna be doing day to day. I can't almost every day I'm given things that I have no idea how to do. I'm asked to solve problems that I have no idea how to solve once it's given to me. And the goal is, again, to make that connection, to bridge what you know, do some research, gather information, and bridge the two things. And you get to the end, and now you know even more. So now the starting point of what you know is even further. So don't trip about it. It is, I'm telling you, it's okay. It is okay. Also, again, this is a boot camp, it's a course. You're not worried about failing it. There will be quizzes, there will be tests. This is for you. It's for you to just kind of know what you need to focus on. There's no failing this. This is all knowledge that is beneficial to the things that can make you, honestly, that can make you money. The reason why we probably want to get into the tech industry is, yes, one, tech can change the world. I'm a new believer of that. I think I've always known that. We've seen it happen, but during COVID, again, I was fortunate enough to be able to participate. The project that I work on is with the Small Business Administration, and to watch, if you don't have, when everything happened, the government said, hey, we're going to give loans to all the small businesses, but they had zero way to disperse that. They had zero, there was no way to do that, and to watch how technology has evolved to enable a team of just a few people, honestly, a team of just a couple people, to be able to build something that can process hundreds of thousands of loans applications a day in just a few days time span was really interesting, and the importance of it, the importance of the little things in the application and stuff. It's been pretty interesting. It's definitely been pretty interesting. But we talk a lot about DevOps. What the heck is site reliability engineering? What is that? This is also a relatively new term. There's a ton of overlap here. There's a significant amount of overlap, between site reliability engineering and software engineering. So according to Wikipedia, again, back to Google, that's what we do here. But it's a discipline that incorporates aspects of software engineering. So we're specifically talking about the software side of things, the dev side of things, and applies them to infrastructure and operations problems. So it's basically using software to solve infrastructure and operations problems. Now, that might sound a little DevOpsy to you. Okay. The main goals are to create scalable and highly reliable software systems. According to Ben Taylor, founder of Google Site Reliability Team, SRE is what happens when a software engineer is tasked with what used to be called operations. So here's the difference. The difference is this main goals here. The main goals is the difference. Whereas DevOps is to help the delivery of that software, to help create those pipelines to help developers move and to enable developers and to enable the creation of new code. The main goal of site reliability engineering is to create highly robust, reliable, and scalable infrastructures that those things are served from. Now, they use a lot of the same concepts and tools to get there, but the SRE is more focused on the infrastructure, is more focused on the reliability of the application rather than the delivery of the software that's going to be on it. Now, again, there's a lot of overlap, and a lot of places the SREs are doing the jobs, they're doing DevOps things. So there's a cool video out there, and even in the DevOps, the SRE book from Google, they say that like if you're into programming, class SRE implements DevOps. So like DevOps may be something that SREs do. Those methodologies may be something that site reliability engineers do to ensure the scalability and the reliability of their infrastructure. But the focus again is on that reliability and scalability of the infrastructure rather than the software, than delivering the software. Even though again they may incorporate each other, there's huge overlap between the two. A lot of DevOps engineers and a lot of DevOps engineering roles are doing this. This is part of your job, is ensuring the infrastructure is reliable and scalable. So for definition's sake, we are separating them, but in real life, a lot of the time, there's an immense amount of overlap, but it's also should be clear that the focus here is also using software to solve these problems. I think there is from what I've seen, there's an interesting difference on the upper end of the difference between DevOps and SRE. And it's weird because although this is really infrastructure focused, I have seen roles for higher level SRE roles like be really software focused. Like the interview for them is like you need to be you got to be a software dev, even though you're only solving infrastructure problems. And so it's a really interesting paradigm, whereas DevOps, yeah, that's generally the case, but there's a little more I don't know, there can be a little less focus on that, and a little more focus on the processes and pipelines, but sure, that's the difference. Let's take a look really quick at some job descriptions and some salaries, just so everyone's aware of what you can make. Before we do that, let me check out the chat. Sorry, I've been ignoring. I'm trying to move through the stuff pretty quick, give you some of your Saturday back today. Get some water as well. People ask about degrees. There's no degree for this. There's like you do not need a degree for this, because there's nothing you learn in school will teach you how to do this. Nothing. I appreciate the bits, Purple Shadow. Thank you so much for all the support, Mr. VIP or Mrs. VIP. I don't know. But so you do not need a degree. A lot of DevOps engineers I know making lots of money have no degrees. Sure, there are certain industries like the government, like if you actually work for the government itself, you need a degree. Just they still have outdated requirements. Sure, there will be companies that have that. Generally, those are some of the larger companies. Like I know Oracle, requires degrees, and there's a few companies that still do. But degrees are not a requirement at all. I've actually, for any DevOps role, I've never been even asked about education, because the focus is on all the other crap. Like, do you know this other stuff? Or like, can you, like, what do you know? Like, I don't even, like, the people interviewing you don't even really know what they need you to know, to be honest. Half the time it's pretty interesting, but a degree does not matter at a lot of places. And like I said, you will hit places that do need it, but I promise you, you will find lots of places that don't. Yeah, you'll find lots of places that don't. A whole lot of places. Yes. So Tanny Array says you tools to move into management. That's true. That is true. Some of the management positions, a lot of management positions will require that. But to get into DevOps, to get into these technical roles, to make $150,000 a year, it's not necessary, but it is important for management roles. I've seen a number of people be cut out from management roles, not even just in tech, but period across the board, for not having a bachelor's. So that is a concern. I do think that's changing. I really, like, I know that's changing, but again, it's still a thing at a number of places. Let's see. 86% of a bachelor's degree and was elite SRE for cybersecurity, just associate. Yes, I'm with you. Sights in the mind. I'm with you 100%. Your appetite to learn will outweigh the piece of paper. I promise you. That, like, people really looking for these roles, the last thing they're looking for is your degree at the bottom of that paper. It really is. And SRE is an Erlang developer? Maybe. Maybe. I like that. I do like. I'm recently very intrigued by Erlang. I didn't really understand what Erlang was until recently. And it's amazing to me how such an old technology can be so useful for a lot of the concurrent things that we need to do today. But that interests me. I'm so, just for everyone's knowledge, I'm from an ops background. So I'm a DevOps engineer that's come from an ops background. I started out as a Linux systems administrator, did systems engineering, things like that. Like, I worked in the data center. I've worked in a couple of data centers, worked for web hosting companies and stuff. And as things started to change, I started to learn the new tools and kind of moved into the DevOps space. I know how to program, but I'm not amazing at it. I'm the lead of an application development team. So that was an interesting experience to start. So I really started to dive into software when I kind of took on that role. And I've now grown, like, I have an immense love for software now. And so that's been my focus. I told you I was learning Rust. My languages of choice right now I love Go. I know some Python. But the project that I work on is Node, React, so like JavaScript as well. But like, my focus right now is I've done a lot of infrastructure stuff, and you always have to do that stuff. But like, I'm diving into software. I'm diving into like, really the theory of software, the different ways to solve, the different approaches, the different architectures, design patterns, things like that. It really is piquing my interest because I think it'll make me better at infrastructure as well. But you can do anything with software. Like, you can do anything with it. So it's kind of fun. It's been kind of fun kind of diving into all those things. Let's see, I'm gonna have to skip some of the stuff. I'm gonna get back to you guys. Let's see. Well, it don't work for Oracle. Hey, I say work wherever you can. I say get in where you fit in. Whoops. Let's turn on that caffeine so this doesn't go off. I say get in where you fit in, to be honest, to start. But I will say one of the best things about the more niche tech industry roles, and again, DevOps in SRE is pretty widespread now, but yes, the barrier to entry is higher, but I do want to provide you some encouragement to continue down the path and to maybe make this something that you work towards. The amount of flexibility that you have, the amount of I wouldn't say job security, because companies, go belly up, companies will let you go, but the ease in which you can that once you get good at being able to express what you know, and having some of that industry experience on your resume, the ease at which you can find another DevOps or SRE role, it's impressive. It's impressive. And again, it's tough. Interviewing isn't tough. It's an art to get there. People who are amazing at their jobs are not great at interviewing. So I understand that. Oh, what's up, everybody? What's all the follows? I appreciate it. I've walked out of positions and been sitting at a new desk within a week. And I waited 2 days to start sending out resumes. So it's pretty interesting the amount of there aren't a lot of people. There are way more DevOps positions kind of growing than people who are qualified to go into them. So it's a benefit for everyone. That means salaries go up. It also means that people are willing to take risks on people who don't quite have the same level of experience. You'll start to see that job descriptions are actually getting crazier. They're actually putting more things on the job descriptions, but I bet if you talk to people, talk to companies, they're taking more junior people because they have to. So it's pretty interesting. It's turning a lot of people off to the job search, but if you're willing to go through it, if you're willing to put yourself out there, I think you'd be very surprised at what kind of happens. What do I think about BI stuff? I think that I suck at BI stuff, and it's dope. And there's a lot of money in business intelligence. My first internship was actually doing business intelligence stuff, and man, I don't like that stuff, but it's pretty dope, and it can make you money. It can make you a lot of money. Purple Shadow, man, the support is amazing. I genuinely, truly, the goat. We're gonna have to make something specifically for you one day. Specifically for you. What is on your resume as an ops guy in the beginning? So I dove in, my stuff in the beginning was the first real company that I worked for was a smaller web hosting company, and so I actually got a lot of experience kind of working in a data center, so that was interesting. And so I put that stuff on there. It was all Linux servers, and I did some Linux admin stuff, so a lot of Linux admin stuff, just stuff about both kind of Windows and Linux administration, and just kind of, I don't know, a little bit of networking stuff on there as well. That's kind of what I had on there in the beginning. So my move from sysadmin stuff was I went to go work in a NOC, which is a network operations center at ZeniMax Media. I worked at ZeniMax Online Studios, actually, which is the parent company for Bethesda. So if you play video games, Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. I worked during the launch of the Elder Scrolls Online. So that was fun. That was pretty cool to be a part of something that big. So it was exciting. But I kind of went to the NOC roles for a little while. Then I went to some systems engineering roles. Yeah. Web or I appreciate that, Purple Shadow. Web or mobile dev? If you're asking which one to go into, I mean, there's a lot of jobs for both, but there's so many jobs for web dev, so many, and they're not that different. They can be because of the languages and frameworks, but the concepts are pretty similar across them. I mean, I think if you study for web dev, it'll make mobile dev easy. And I also believe if you study straight mobile dev, I actually think it'll be harder to go from mobile dev to web dev. But yeah, the best stream on Twitch. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. But again, just here to help. Let's see. What's the best thing to branch out? I've been working as a tier 2 to 1 help desk tech role for 6 years. Yeah, so I actually started out in help desk. My first internship, my first real role were in help desk. To branch out from there, I really think the next common step is systems administration, or even nowadays like a cloud engineer, cloud systems administration, I think is the next step up, or a NOC, again, a network operations center. I look for jobs in a NOC. I think it's a good stepping stone. I think it's also a place where you'll learn a lot, and the stuff might be applicable to kind of, it won't be such a wild thing. And I think that your help desk role will be beneficial. I think it'll help you. It'll be seen as valid experience for that next role. Principal cloud architect for a large company, 200K plus employees. I work for a company that had I was employee number like 36, and now it has over 100, and I think it's huge. So 200K is crazy. Looking for talent, true junior, no degrees are no longer an issue. Smart and willing to learn is very important. Learn to find answers. Own a cage. If you want to reach out, I'd love to. If you guys have actual roles, I'd love to share the roles, or you can feel free to share roles or things that come up. That is something that we're also doing. We're working with companies now to just share roles on here. Like bring your roles here, get them out to you all, so that you guys know about them as well. Like AWS, not make sense. Dope. You think web dev makes decent money? I know web dev makes decent money. Well, decent money is different to a lot of people, but web dev absolutely, I mean, 100%. Like I feel like most things today are web dev. For sure, a couple years experience, your 6-figure salary worthy, depending on where you are in the country, no problem. Like 100% web dev makes good money. And web dev is not easy. Web dev is way harder to me than DevOps, or the web dev is not easy to me. All right, here we go. So let's absolutely, I'm always like, I think the personal career experience is pretty important. That's why we have we're gonna have a number of panels on the streams. We won't have any specifically to take up the Saturday sessions because this course is so it's only one day a week, but there'll be a number of panels. I really think it's valuable to hear about the experiences of other people. There are some panels that you can go back and watch that I can link you to. But like just hearing about people's experiences and being able to ask questions, like raw questions about it, is pretty is pretty important. I can't, like, every time we have one, I learn a lot. Sorry. Oh yeah, some tea. 1 second. We tomorrow's Mother's Day, and we are getting some catering for my mother, and I was supposed to send information to my wife about what to do with it, and obviously I didn't because I'll be forgetting stuff. So I'm just gonna do that right now. 1 second. Let's see here. I forwarded you the only thing they sent. Oh, she's gone. I forwarded you the only thing they sent me. Yep. Cool. So, all right, cool. I'm a software guy, but I don't rely on ops. True. I mean, we all rely on each other. That's the thing. Like, we all rely on everyone. I didn't forget my mom. I forgot to send my wife the information to get the things that we got from my mom. The actual this one, whoops. I don't think I shared this doc. So I'll share this one really quick. If you aren't in I know everyone doesn't want to join the Google Classroom, not a problem. I get it. All right, here we go. Amazon sending a gift late. Yeah, that's why we went with the we just went with the catering. Hopefully it's good. It better be good because it was not cheap. I was hurt. I started putting stuff in there. I wasn't really paying attention, and it got to the end, and I was like, oh my, this I hope my mom enjoys this. So we're gonna drop it off to her today because they only had a today delivery. Like you can only pick it up today, so we're gonna deliver it to her. Okay. Some job descriptions real quick, and then we'll get into perfect timing. We're gonna get out of here like right around noon, a little bit after today. So let's just take a look at, like, we'll start with Indeed. Here's why I think it's important to take a look at these job descriptions and salaries. We'll take a look at salaries in different locations of the country to give you an indication of what you can work towards. I'm gonna be honest with you about what I think you can make starting out, or like in your earlier positions, what you can kind of grow into. But also, like, I want you to see the like as we're learning things, I want you to start to kind of apply what we're learning back to some of those job descriptions to see if you can figure out how to, like, I think about how to answer some of those questions. I think what we're going to be doing is going to put into context some of those job descriptions. So let's look at both, like, DevOps things, and right now I have it listed as Baltimore. Let's make it a little more generic by putting in nothing, and let's duplicate this. And let's type in site reliability engineer. And then we're gonna go over here. We're gonna go to Glassdoor. And again, all this stuff is affected by where you live. The amount of jobs that are near you are affected by where you live. What's great about right now, now's a terrible time. It's a terrible time. People are really affected by COVID. You know, I understand that, but what it's requiring is that companies who normally were not open to remote options, not only are open to remote options right now, but it's opened the door to that. A lot of companies will permanently now be open to permanent options. So you've now opened up the like so many jobs are now going to be available to you after like now, because again, a lot of companies who were not remote friendly before are now remote friendly. So kind of the nation or the world is kind of your oyster now. It's a perfect time to learn. There's a lot of tech jobs opening up. The company I work for is hiring a lot. We actually got contracts out of this. A lot of the tech companies that I know are hiring right now, because again, everyone's online, everyone's utilizing these different things, and a lot of companies have been able to thrive. It also means that there's going to be yes, people have lost their jobs. If you've been let go, trust me, I feel for you. But what it means is there's gonna be new companies that are thriving. There's new companies that are popping up who are gonna be in this mobile first, this remote first world. And so I'm telling you, the tech industry is kind of the place to be, especially with all the crap going on. So I'll sign in here. It's not gonna show me stuff. Actually, I'll do Glassdoor on my main computer so that you can actually see some salaries, so you don't have to sign in. But let's take a look at just some of the things we have here. So let's open up just a few of them. DevOps. So you see here they even put DevOps and SRE in parentheses here because there's so much overlap. I really like that. Geico, it looks like, is cognizant of the differences and kind of what the roles are going to be. So that's dope. We'll check something over here in Texas. We'll check, we got one here in, we have Texas and things that are close to me. Is it gonna give me anything else? George, I don't know what AHM is. Let's check that out. And let's check out Vision. It's nice, they put their salary there. And let's just take a look at the differences and also the similarities between these things. You're gonna see a lot of similarities. Some of them might be copy and paste of each other. So generally at the top, you're going to get they have a big header up here. That's really annoying, but you're going to get a bunch of information about the company. So this is for Geico. I think we're all familiar with, if you're in the US, you're probably familiar with Geico, I guess. They're an insurance company, auto insurance company. I think they have other insurance as well. Pretty large. I think they're second or third largest, I believe. Maybe it's just in Maryland. I don't know. Information about Geico is up top. They're looking for a systems professional / DevOps engineer. And they'll give you kind of a flow up here of like, give you some information about the actual job that you're going to be doing. And then in the key responsibilities, they're generally going to list out more so the technologies and problems they want you to solve day to day. So this actually seems like a little bit interesting of a job rec than what I normally see. Analyzing system infrastructure and performance metrics to identify actionable insights. We just talked about that inside of the DevOps workflow and the pipelines and that feedback, that observability, that monitoring, so you can make actionable insights and make some changes. That's dope. So everything they're here, designing and deploying predictive models using Splunk. Splunk is just a tool, using the effectiveness and accuracy of new data sources and data. So, okay, this is good about your key responsibilities. And then usually down here, we'll have some information about the technologies. I hate this giant header up here. Bachelor's. So look at this. They say bachelor's in computer science, or quantitative discipline, preferred. So it's just preferred. And a lot of them will say this, but again, it's almost always just preferred. They throw it in there. It's usually not first. I find this interesting that it's first, but normally, again, preferred, not required. You will not come across many of these that'll say a degree is required. And then you can kind of comb through these here. And so this one is looks like it's with machine learning, wants you to know some data science stuff with Python. This is interesting. This is not a job that I would apply for. Me personally. I'm not saying it's not a job that you should apply for. I'm saying that this wouldn't fit my skill set. Strong understanding of data processing using SQL. That's a tool. Understanding machine learning techniques. So this seems like you're getting a feel that this is a machine learning support role, for a DevOps support role. And then here, Azure cloud. So if you're someone who's been studying AWS, this might not be for you, but maybe it will be. And you got some qualifications here and what you kind of get. So interesting. That's an interesting one. This is not, this one is actually a little more well thought out than the ones that I usually see, but I'm not in the market super often. So maybe things have changed, but let's take a look at another one from Texas. And kind of the same format you see here, a little bit of introduction to the company, a little bit about the job, a little bit about the responsibilities, which are a little more high level, but then you'll start to see a lot of buzzwords in here, like CI/CD, and they'll give you some of the tools. Whenever they say tools and they list some tools, they generally are using the tools that they put here. So they're probably using Circle CI or Amazon Code Build or some of this stuff. But this is I actually like this. It seems like these are getting a little more generic. They used to just be buzzword soup, and I can still tell that they are still buzzword soup. And they list some technologies. It's interesting because you can actually start to get the feel of what a role is like just from the technologies that they use sometimes, but you should read through them as well. But you start to get the requirements of what you need: AWS and Terraform, which is infrastructure provisioning through code, and Postgres, so it's a database as well, or any other relational database management system. Python, a little bit of Python, so you need a little bit of a language. And notice if you're part of the software bootcamp, they tell you it's an interpreted runtime language, so that it sounds like they're only using dynamically typed interpreted runtimes, Bash and Linux. So that was one of the pillars that we talked about. And yeah, they'll just give you the things here. But again, start to compare them, start to notice the differences and similarities between them, and kind of what they're asking for, because maybe that'll guide what you start to learn. So this is what I'm used to. This one right here, where it's just a list of technologies and it's overwhelming. I think these other ones were a little more thought out. So yes, this is the requirements, but I think that they gave you the roles and responsibilities and a little more of a little better of a way, I think. But here, look at this. They're just dropping buzzwords, even though they are, they're put in a different way, but they're just dropping technologies. And it's like, well, which one do you want? Like, which one do I need to know? Like, that's super confusing. And again, read through, know that if they're saying you need a scripting language such as Bash, Python, or PowerShell, you don't need to know all of them. You need to know how to do script to automate some processes. That is what they want out of you there. And you need to know that experience with the configuration management, deployment, automation systems concepts. So here they're saying, hey, I need you to understand how to configure systems through code. I need you to understand how to set up build pipelines and deploy them using one of the tools that supports that. And so generally all of them are going to have all the tools that are listed in these categories on the roadmap, like log management. It's basically going to cover the big level categories: CI/CD and monitoring and infrastructure as code. All the things are really going to support these kind of things in here. So yeah, I would say take a look and check out some of these. And we're just looking at JDs, and let's see how it differs from these DevOps ones. Check out how they differ from something like one of these site reliability engineering ones. It gives you a little bit about what you'll do. Again, we're not going to read through all of these, but they really talk about improvements in critical maintenance related to metrics and KPIs. But so you can already tell, well, I can tell that this is much more systems focused, infrastructure focused. They're talking about Linux and networking and load balancers and DNS and TCP/IP. And so look how in the site reliability engineering deck, they have DevOps engineering practices as a bullet item inside of site reliability engineering. That's just to kind of show you the relationship between them. Like, you know, if you're going to be doing SRE work, you should probably be familiar with DevOps practices. That's why we're focusing so heavily on DevOps. But then, yeah, there's still a lot of the same stuff like CI/CD, but a lot of OS stuff, a lot of systems and infrastructure stuff in here, as opposed to the DevOps ones. And that one, let's see how this one looks. These are all different companies. See, and like I said, you'll get a couple of them that say you need this, but like, I would still apply even if you see this. Do not apply anyway. 100% apply anyway. This is pretty generic. They don't really tell you anything. This is also interesting. Use of Microsoft Excel. All right, they don't tell you anything. These ones that are extra vague, I'd apply for these too. I definitely apply. I wouldn't apply for this one because they don't tell me anything. But if you're looking for one of these roles, I mean, I would apply for everything. But like, this is interesting. They don't give you anything about anything SRE specific. Oh, you go work at KFC, get yourself some free food, maybe. Here they talk about this SDLC. We just learned about SDLC. If you weren't familiar, software development lifecycle, databases and development and web application security. So a lot of stuff, but still, look how even now, this is great. They're shifting again to be a little more open. They're not so prescriptive because there's so many technologies. They're not saying, hey, you need to know these things. It's like, hey, you need to be able to solve these problems to work where we're working. So a little bit better. Will regular Windows updates remove the rat, if any, present? I don't know what that means. I don't know what a rat is. What are some of the DevOps, the advantages of DevOps in machine learning are? So the advantages of DevOps in any industry are going to be, I think, the same across the board. Again, machine learning requires it requires usually substantial infrastructure for one. So it enables the automation and it enables the automation and easier orchestration of that infrastructure. Two, machine learning is code dependent. It's software, and getting new updates out to your learning models, getting new updates out to that infrastructure is important. And being able to know what's going on is important, especially in machine learning, because things take a long time, especially. So I mean, the benefits are the same everywhere. It allows for consistency amongst deployments. It allows for consistency amongst the way code is run. It allows for some reliability and some belief that the things that you're deploying are working due to the testing phases of it. The automation of it allows you to get the human factor off of there, and be pretty confident that your things aren't going to break for dumb reasons, at least. So yeah. As a sysadmin, should I be looking at DevOps junior roles? I feel like I'm going to step down in salary. No, I think especially if you think I think if you are a mid-level sysadmin, I think you can walk right into a DevOps role. Because most places, I think a lot of places just recoined sysadmin as DevOps. They're like, DevOps is like a thing now, and we're in the cloud. Like, all right, we need a DevOps engineer. So no, I don't think you should be looking for junior DevOps roles. I think you should be looking for DevOps roles. Most people will hire a mid-tier sysadmin for a DevOps role, no problem at all. So no. Machine learning model as required. No. You don't need. That's a great question, RWX Rob. No, you do not need. First off, it's good to have you in here. Shout out to RWX Rob. He's a dope streamer. You saw me. A lot of you saw me tweet the other day. He was doing some beginner Linux stuff that was pretty cool. But he's much more wise and much smarter than I at a lot of this stuff. But no, you do not need to create a machine learning model for any DevOps or SRE skill. But you can use DevOps, the concepts in DevOps to support your machine learning pipeline if you need to. All right, let's look at some salaries really quick on Glassdoor. Let me actually open this up here instead. And again, these salaries are super dependent to where you are, but I encourage you, I'm only doing this to encourage you to also look at them. They change all the time. So I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, so I may search for DevOps things in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm actually a huge fan of salary transparency, so I'll be completely transparent about I can be completely transparent with you about the roles and things. Average base salary says Baltimore is 14% below the national average. Where I work, this is not the case. We are above this average, and this is, I, as a DevOps engineer, I've always made more than this, but that's because I had a fair amount of experience in the sysadmin role. My very first DevOps engineering role was exactly at 100K. And that was maybe 4 years ago. DevOps, the concept of DevOps is still pretty new. But that was maybe 4 years ago. This is, from all of my experience, from the people that I talked to, from the jobs I know of, one, Baltimore's not a great area for, it has some great tech companies, but like, it's not super huge. It's not super saturated. But like, even if you just go right down the street to like Washington, DC, and so I would expect like this average salary, I would expect this is something that you can get actually pretty junior, like 80 in this, on the East Coast, or at least in the, I would say north of like North Carolina and up. I would say that you could expect these roles, you get, as you get up to New York, Boston and stuff, they're gonna go up. But you can see here, you go down the road 30 miles, the average base salary goes up, 20 grand. So there's a lot of variability here. And again, don't hold this to be true, like don't hold this to be facts, but it is a good indication of the market a little bit, about what you can get. This is average base pay. There are other things that go into this as well. But like I said, for a lot of places, for DevOps engineering roles, I would definitely expect in the 80 and up range. I think for most DevOps engineering roles, most companies are equipped and ready when they put out a role for that to pay about that much. And again, it is different everywhere you go. I worked at a company that just gave me the title of DevOps engineer, my first one. Not my first one, but I actually didn't put it on my resume as a DevOps engineer. They hired me as a web operations engineer, and then they just like switched it to DevOps later on. I don't count that as my first DevOps job, but I was making about that average range, about $80,000. But let's look at some other places across the country because it's very different. Let's look in like Ohio. SRE salaries. Actually, let me just switch this right now. SRE salaries tend to be a little bit higher. So in the same place, Washington, DC, they tend to go up a bit. And so you can see not a ton, but they do tend to go up a bit. And you can see if we go back to Baltimore, there are like no SRE roles in Baltimore, except at like Under Armour. And you can see here that did go up from what was in Baltimore before, 85 to 91. Let's go West Coast. So let's go, can I just put in all of California? Yeah, let me just put all of California. And look at SREs, and we see about 117. And like I said, you can net way more than this. And I feel free, like, and if you're comfortable, when we do our panels, we've talked about salaries a number of times. If you're comfortable with it, I encourage being open about your salary. I just encourage the open conversations about it. Not so everyone can get the most that they can get, but just to be informed. As with anything else, I think it's so weird that people don't. I don't know. I think it's something weird that people just kind of hide. I think people feel bad for making a lot of money too. I think there's some weird stigma about money, about admitting that you're in a job for money. Like I don't know. I think it's weird. Yeah. It's nice if you have some passion in there too, but like also like I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say that if I could be doing anything in the world, I would be doing DevOps. Not true. That is not true at all. But again, that salary transparency and understanding what your peers are making, I think is important. I've heard good arguments about why people shouldn't discuss it. But again, these are my feelings. No requirements for anyone. I'm willing to be pretty transparent about a lot of things. The only reason I'm not I'm willing to be pretty transparent about a lot of all my salary stuff. I can give you guys all my salary information. The company that I work for actually started to take that model. So salaries are, they were more transparent before. The scale has just gotten wider now, so they're a little bit less transparent now. But yeah, I think it's at least helpful if people are willing to give ranges for their salaries. But we will, there's a time when we will really dive into salaries and talking about what to expect, and we'll start to I really want to start aggregating. I know Glassdoor does this, but start aggregating some of the salaries of people that I talk to kind of figure out, like, how many years of experience do you have? What type of experience do you have? Male or female, like man or woman, things like that, just to kind of really start to understand how this stuff is. My current SRE salary is $0. That's fair. My minimum offer was 85K and my highest was 92, right? That's yeah, exactly. Like these are high salary positions. And this says average salaries. Like even here in the DC, Baltimore area, I mean, to be 100% honest with you, if you're a DevOps engineer if you're in a DevOps role and you have 5 years of industry experience, I mean, you're probably in the 115s to 130 range more. I think you're at least at 115, 120, and it can go way up. You got 10 years of experience of real kind of DevOps SRE work. You really know how to manage infrastructure. You really understand how to solve problems. I mean, fairly simple to get 150, 160, 170. You kind of got to move out of here to get the really upper echelons like New York and stuff, or Silicon Valley, to get the upper echelons of pay. But like, it costs of living, my rent is cheap. My rent is very cheap. I live in Baltimore. Our rent is very cheap. You can, it all depends on where you are. But again, super clear. Everyone's gonna be making a different amount. Feel free to share that. Yeah, 130K base, 4 years of experience. Senior SRE with 4 years of experience, you're already a senior SRE, 100%, 100%. Easily, like Northern Virginia area. Again, 6 figures at most places around the country. If you're middle of the country, mid-south, you might be making a little bit less, but you're in Texas, you're on either one of the coasts, you're in the Carolinas, that's the coast. 6 figures for just a few years of experience, for 2 to 3 years of experience, is extremely common. It's extremely common. Not everywhere. It's not. I don't think it's the norm, but I do think it's common. But I think very close to 6 figures is the norm, though. Okay. Now, last thing we're gonna do is let's actually talk about this course. Like, I know we did a lot today. We talked about a lot, and we can keep having conversations after this, and I'll go back and check on some of the chat messages, but let's just talk about this is not the right GitHub because we weren't in the VM. Here we go. This is the right GitHub. So I'm going to give you guys a link to GitHub really quick. I'm also going to put it in the Google Classroom. Nope, this is also not it. What am I doing? We have a small little repo for this. Appreciate it, YG Dev, for the follow. Appreciate it, Naren Dev. Thank you for the follow. I'm gonna do my best to try to give all the followers and stuff a shout. I like to give all the cheers and things a shout. I have noticed that when watching the videos back, people have commented on YouTube as well. Sometimes it's jarring for the experience. So I think I'm gonna make some, thanks to Coding Garden for giving me the advice that you gave me in that whisper. I think I'm gonna carve out time to, during the breaks, take a break every 20 minutes or so, relax for a little bit, let everyone's mind take in what we just did, and to thank everybody, for who's followed, to, give everyone their props as well. So let's head into here. Nope, this is not the right place. So I love GitHub. I have a problem with their experience and their flow, their user flow to get to certain organization repositories. Really bothers me. But all right, I'm gonna share this. We have a GitHub link there, or you can just go to my GitHub. If you hit !GitHub, you'll be able to find this in here. But yeah, head over to that GitHub if you want, clone it. This is where we're gonna start living out of for this. This is pipelines, again, a journey into software delivery, automation, and infrastructure, topics in DevOps and site reliability engineering with a dope picture, because, you know, what is a README if it doesn't have an image in it? Super important. No, we're not gonna do any work per se today. I think we're gonna make some stories, user stories maybe, or some tickets, but we're just gonna go over this really quick. Yeah, we're just gonna go over this really quick, and we really will be out of here in not that long. So let's set a scene really quick. This is, you know, I want everyone to get into the role here. You just started a new role at a pretty cool startup. Our startup doesn't have a name. Maybe we can give it a name. They're making some big waves and they're growing, but their initial architecture and infrastructure isn't really prepared for the future. I needed to fix that. They initially set up everything up by hand on an on-prem server. On-prem means on premises. This means at their place of work or at their own data center, they have a server that they set everything up on. Their MVP of their product, their minimum viable product that they had, was set up, you know, by hand on a server, but it has a lot of pieces to it. There's absolutely no automation here. You've walked into poor documentation, and all changes are fully manual. So we need to make a change, we need to make an update, they're you know, fully manual. Time for digital transformation. That's the scene. And yes, you are correct. English grammar isn't really a requirement of ops and DevOps. I make most of my mistakes are because I think fast, and I'm a terrible typist and I have fat fingers. So like I make typing mistakes everywhere. I need to get better at it. I need to get better at fixing them 1000%. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so that's the thing. So I actually do have some infrastructure set up for us. I have an app, I have a server, I have a, you know, just a normal server. It isn't Amazon, it's just an EC2 instance. It is simply set up with 4 services. There is a content management system that is used to sell some products. There's a CMS, a commerce website that they have, so it has a database on it. The database is installed right on the instance itself, you know, MySQL. There's a static page for supporting a documentation website to learn how to use their products and to support their products. And then there are 2 other, I forgot what they are. There are 2 other systems on there that are using a number of technologies to support the entirety of this ecosystem. We're not going to go over today. There's a reason why we're not going to go over today. But we're going to be taking that, and we're going to be, again, this is a common paradigm of companies implementing DevOps. There's a common paradigm of what you might have to do for a digital transformation as well. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what the job is. And I try to make it as succinct as possible, just to keep it simple and to give us some flexibility in how we decide to solve this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute the system. Everything right now is on one server, all the services, everything's right there. There is no repository for it, but this would essentially be a monorepo. But monorepo might be the answer for this, but we want to distribute at least the system. So one of the first things we're going to learn about is distributed systems. That's something that we didn't really cover in the DevOps course. We're going to understand distributed systems, and we're going to distribute that system. We'll probably get through all of that. The plan is to get through all of that next week, is to talk about distributed systems, completely distribute it, make sure at least we get the pieces separated, so that we can get a little more fault tolerance, and we'll understand why we're doing that. So we're going to distribute the system for one. And again, this is not to say that we are making the best and most efficient architecture. A monolith might have been the answer here. Maybe the real answer is to leave it the way it is, but that's not what we're doing right now. We want to learn how to implement these DevOps principles. We want to learn how to implement and use this tooling, and we want to contextualize the concepts to which we're learning. So this is not making the best. This is adapting this to do as you would do on a job. So we also need to implement some source and version control for the applications, for the different tools that we have, and create a development strategy. And so what does that mean? That means the source and version control that we're going to be using is going to be Git. Maybe we'll use GitHub. I mean, probably we'll use a GitHub because we're already here, but maybe we'll choose something else like GitLab. But we need to figure out what the development looks like. How will developers be getting code, creating new code? How will it get tested? How will it, what's the environment strategy? Are we gonna have a development environment for everyone? Is there a staging environment? How does the code get to production? What's the branching strategy in Git? So we're gonna talk about all those things, different branching strategies, different deployment methods, things about environments, and we're going to learn how to keep all that stuff in line and in order. We're going to set up a CI/CD process for these things, possibly the third CD as well, possibly continuous integration, continuous delivery, possibly continuous deployment as well, for our code to move from the developer's computer all the way to production. However we decide to do that, we're going to make sure that there's a pipeline set up for that to happen. We're going to convert this mono repo to microservice architecture. Again, mono repo may be the answer, but for the sake of learning, we are going to convert this. There are a bunch of different services. We'll learn about microservice architecture. It's a common paradigm in DevOps and SRE work right now, and we'll do that. And yeah, we'll get that going. We'll ensure that all that can be of the infrastructure can be codified. So we'll practice our infrastructure as code, and we'll make sure that we can include that as a part of our pipeline. We'll provide visibility into the health and infrastructure of the applications. So this is where the yes, it's part of DevOps, but we'll dive into a lot of SRE concepts here and really start to dive into the reliability of the application and ways to write software to be able to make sure we can do that. And this app is the moneymaker, so let's make sure it can handle errors. Again, this goes into the SRE portion of it as well, making sure this application is supremely reliable, fault tolerant, and so we're going to learn a lot of concepts here, cloud concepts, as well as just internet concepts about how to properly scale an application, how to properly handle application failures, both service failures and full application failures. We'll learn how to do failovers. We'll learn how to do auto scaling. We'll learn how to leverage CDNs. We'll learn how to do a lot in here. Like, it's going to be a lot. The 3 hours are going to be packed. There's not going to be a lot of slides. There's not going to be a lot of slides throughout the 3 hours. There will be to discuss the main big level concept, like distributed systems, but most of it's going to be hands-on for 3 straight hours. And again, we'll take breaks, but I think we can get through it. And again, this is a little bit of an experiment. We've never done, we haven't yet done an intermediate course. We'll see if this works. I know this course can work. I don't know if it can work once a week for 8 weeks for only 3 hours. So this may guide, maybe we'll extend the course. Like, maybe if it really is moving slower than we'd like, maybe we'll extend it out to 10 or 12 weeks. But we'll play that by ear. Right now, we're planning on this being 8 weeks. And maybe we'll decide that round 2, the next time we run the intermediate course, that it will get a different treatment. And like, maybe it'll get 3 days a week instead of the other 2 days a week options. But we're going to figure out what works best for things like this. And again, there also will be an expert version of this later. So we're learning a lot here, but there will be an expert version of this coming up as well. And then we'll also be rotating which courses we run. There'll always be an opportunity to jump in at the beginner level of a course. There'll always be an opportunity to jump in at an intermediate level and an advanced level throughout the process. And then we'll run them, nonstop throughout the year. We'll take like a week or 2 in between, and we'll keep going. So yes, a whole lot here. And so the last thing I want to do is, now you got the job. So think about that a little bit. Get yourself in the mindset that you have a new SRE DevOps job, DevOps/SRE job, and that we're going to be going through and doing a full transformation together so for anyone who hasn't been familiar with a kind of standard mono repo, standard server with just a bunch of stuff on it. You're about to learn about how to, like, you're gonna see what that looks like. I'm gonna provide you I'm gonna try to right now I have an AMI for you, so if anyone who's familiar with AWS, I'll have the AMI of that so that you can do this along with me if you want. But I'm also going to provide you with I'm also going to make it a vagrant image as well, so that you can do this locally, most of it locally. There's gonna be some things you can't do locally when we get to some of the AWS specific stuff, but I'm going to give you yes, I've kind of, we're going to try to do this in a way that you can do this locally with VirtualBox as well, as opposed to just AWS. We're gonna do it in AWS. I'm gonna be doing it in AWS because I want to be able to for everyone to be able to get to it, no problem, at all times. Like, I'm gonna leave it up. I want people to be able to get to it. But yes, AMI is an Amazon machine image. So all the applications that are already set up, I'm gonna give you basically this little file that has everything that you need to kind of run everything, and I'll point you in the right direction. If you're completely unfamiliar with these things, I'll give you some instructions, but you'll have to do it on your own to kind of get it set up. And again, I encourage leveraging everyone in the chat, the people around you, to kind of help you out, to get that stuff set up if you're having trouble. But those things, because it's an intermediate course, we won't be doing a live on stream. It won't be doing live on stream. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get you I'm looking to have the AMI is already ready. I might make some tweaks this week. I might actually add another service. But that's one reason we're not looking at it now. Another reason we're not looking at it now is, again, I think it would just be a lot in like, when we look through it, we're gonna be breaking down some things. But the way that we're gonna be tracking what we're doing is we are going to be using GitHub projects. So in here, there is GitHub projects. There's a pipelines project. So on this list right here of things that we looked at, this collaborate section right here, this is the tool that we're going to be using to both create things, to know what we need to get done, to be able to track our progress, so that we have some visibility and what's going on, to know what we have upcoming. But yeah, it's a common paradigm in these worlds to work through the agile Scrum methodologies. We're not going to go too deep into those because it's a weird methodology for DevOps and SRE work. But one good thing that comes out of that is something called Kanban, which is related. And so we're going to operate in Kanban fashion. So if you ever use something like Trello, this is going to be very, very Trello-like. We're going to basically have a couple of columns. We're going to set up all the things that we have to get done, and then we're going to start doing them. We're not going to do any sprints or anything. I guess each week will probably be a sprint. We'll talk about the methodologies, but I don't think we're going to go too deep into them. And then, as we're working on things, we're going to move them over to in progress. Then we're probably going to have a review column, or maybe a blocked column and a done column, but we'll just use these cards over here to to figure out what it is that we're going to be doing. So when will this course be? Oh, sorry, I didn't change the project. The Horizons is on Monday and Wednesday. So if you go to website, you can get the schedule. But yes, this is GitHub Projects is very much like Trello. I'm not a GitHub Projects pro. I'm really used to Trello. I'm really used to Jira. I'm really used to actually even the Kanban style thing in Notion. But this is, once you understand one, you understand them all, and it'll be easy to map these to different issues and things like that. So we'll be using a combination of projects and issues to be able to get some work done. I am going to seed most of this board for the start of this. So like when we walk into the next week's course, like literally it's going to be like your first day of work. It really is going to be like your first day of work. There will be some documentation for you that I've also been working on as well, to kind of take a look at. I'm going to deliver the documentation to you through Google Classroom midweek. You're going to get that before Saturday. And I encourage you to look at it before, as a part of your extra hours, extra time before the next class. And it's just going to talk to you about the services. Again, the services that we're using, obviously I wasn't going to build out all the tools for a startup. So we're using a bunch of open source tools and applications that are been lightly branded. They have mastermind stuff there right now, but maybe we should make a company name. Maybe we'll do a poll or something in Slack and Discord to make a company name, and maybe we'll rebrand it as a different company. But just to get up to speed on, like, take a look at what those tools are. Maybe you want to go look at the CMS we decided to use. Maybe you want to go look at this Node.js app that's running. Maybe you want to go look at learn what one of the tools I believe is using a Redis cache, and maybe you want to go look up what Redis is. But that documentation will give you what tools are there. Actually, I'll put it in the README. I'll make it a developer README, and I'll put it in the GitHub repo. So clone this repo, or fork it, or whatever you want to do with it. But I will put it in Google Classroom to tell you how to get it. If you have no idea how to use GitHub, I'll tell you exactly where to go and how to get it. I love me some Redis remote code execution. Hey, this site is going to be supremely hackable. That is one thing we're not focusing on here, is security. We're not focusing on security this round. I mean, a little bit. There's inherent security in a lot of things that we're going to do, but it's not going to be a major focus of this course. But check out that link to there. That is that's everything for today. I appreciate that Nitrous Ape for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate it. But that's it. Is there any questions? I know it's a lot. It's always going to be a lot. I think it's going to feel like a lot less when we start doing work. And I only believe that because through all the streams that we've done, whenever we're hands on keyboard doing stuff, 3 hours goes by and we're like, oh, okay, it's time to go, because that was too much time. But that is, I think today is going to feel like longer than any other day, to be honest. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll back up a bit. Ask any questions you'd like. We have time, but that is it. How do you join the Google Classroom? Go ahead and type in classroom. There you go. Raid. Did we get raided? Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna raid somebody. We're about to raid somebody for sure. Just want to make sure I get any questions that need to be answered. Schedule for this time wise. Who just asked that? Headringer. This one will be from. It's scheduled from 10 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. So it's 3 hours every Saturday. So well, like I said, we'll also take some breaks in there. Like, I'm actually gonna make some active breaks, because I know that it's kind of breakfast time and goes through lunchtime, all that stuff. So it can get a little weird. Bring your food, relax. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be much more chill than, like, we had a lot of stuff to go over today. It's gonna be chill. It's gonna be chill for sure. What I need to do as homework for next class? No, the only homework you're gonna need to do for next class is I'm gonna provide you some documentation midweek, and I'll sign it in the Google Classroom. I need to finish some of it actually, because I think I'm gonna make a change to it. But yeah, that's all you need to do. Don't stress yourself out. I would get familiar. If I were you, if DevOps and site reliability engineering are completely new to you, I would absolutely go to YouTube, watch some videos. I would absolutely Google it and just read some articles. None of it might make any sense to you. Retain as much of it as you can. It will, like, something will contextualize it for you as we're going through it. Like, we'll go over something and it'll make half of an entire article make sense for you. So it's okay. It's completely okay. That's the first half. When will this vid be available on Twitch? Immediately, as soon as I stop streaming, the video on demand is available on Twitch. It will be up on, I'm starting to actually post straight to YouTube now. So it'll be available on YouTube, as long as it doesn't get taken down like the other two, which I'm fixing. It'll be up same day. These will be up same day. These will be up on YouTube on Saturdays because I have time. Because we don't finish the other ones until like 9:30 in the evening. Those go up next day. But yeah, do it for fun. Also for doing this. I never see things like this available for everyone. I appreciate that. And I also never saw things like this. That's the reason I do it. If there's also any topics or anything that people want to learn, again, I'm not an expert at everything at all. But I think there's gonna be some ways for us to kind of extend those things. But yeah, appreciate it, Pot Liquor. Definitely, anyone who would benefit from some of this stuff, I feel free to share. Like I said, now is a really good time, I think, to be learning tech as a whole. There's a number of different options right now. That's why we're running 3 different ones. So yeah, I should join the pipelines classrooms. Yep, you should join pipelines. You can join all 3 if you want. Doesn't hurt to join all 3. But yeah, pipelines one. So you have to wait 24 hours for Twitch. Yeah, you're supposed to, as a Twitch affiliate, I'm supposed to wait 24 hours. They don't enforce it, but you're supposed to wait 24 hours before you put it anywhere else. Which time would you stream next Saturday? Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So 2.5 hours, wherever your time zone is, go back 2.5 hours, and that's when I'll be streaming. That's the day that's when I'll start. So I'll put the schedule. I think the schedule is below. I think if you go below, I think there's a schedule. Oh, I didn't put the, yes, I did put the time in there. There is a schedule down below. I'll make that a little bit bigger. I need to add it as a chat command, for sure. You're gonna be partner probably within a month. Yeah. So actually, the only thing holding me from, well, at least being able to apply for partner right now is I just because of this week alone, my my average viewer count is high enough, which is again super dope. I really appreciate it. One of my goals was by the end of the year to make partner. The only thing that's stopping me now is that because I had taken a break from streaming kind of in the middle, I haven't been streaming as much. I just got to get my streaming hours up, and I'm really close. I think Monday I'll have all of the things back up. Yeah, so I think probably Monday is probably gonna be the last piece that I'll get. And once I'm there, I'll apply. Hopefully I get it. If not, no big deal. It's just a partner for Twitch. It's just a status level for Twitch. I don't think there's actually many benefits of it anymore. I think they've made almost affiliate and partner the same, but it's just a nice accolade that I would like to add under my belt. They don't give much love to partner applications from science and tech. That's fair. I get it. I won't be hurt. I won't be hurt. I just take some pride in that. Like, we were able to build up the community enough that we could be eligible for it. I genuinely appreciate it, but also, like, I just love that the science and tech community, like, the numbers on science and tech have grown so much since people have been home. And I hope we can just keep helping it grow, for sure. You have to apply multiple times. I've heard some people apply 8 times. That's all good. All good. Promotion for you with it. Yeah. What's up, Callow? Callow, what's up, man? See, there's a lot of streamers in here. So the people you see in the chat with a little diamond VIP, most of those people are other streamers that I find very helpful and fun and entertaining. I think that's one of the best parts about this. Like, yeah, I do a coding stream where you can come learn, but there are people who are supremely entertaining, but also help you learn. Again, Coding Garden, Callow Creation, Cophobia. There's who else comes on here? There's I think she might be streaming right now. There's someone for people who are beginners. There's Cyber Barbie or Coding Barbie. I think it's Cyber Barbie. She's basically going through live teaching herself Python, like, in front of you, like, kind of having fun. So I think that's pretty intriguing to be a part of, because, like, again, when you get on here and you see pros on here just coding away, it can be pretty overwhelming. But going to someone's stream who's, like, learning just like you, I think can be pretty valuable. But yeah, there's CM Griffin. There's a bunch of dope people that we'll check out pretty often. Yeah, man, I'm gonna get the shout out. I'm gonna get the shout out thing working. I have some stuff I'm doing this weekend to add in all the commands and stuff that I've messed up. Any pre-knowledge for next lesson you recommend? What I would recommend is, you know what I'll do? I will provide all of the slides in the Google Classroom. I'll provide all of the slides to all of the major lessons from the beginner DevOps Bootcamp. I would say just, like, run through the slides. The slides are like, you saw my slides. They have basically a couple words and some memes on them. They're like this, and most of them have less words than this. I'll provide them all as a resource. Feel free to run through them, to run through some of them at least, because there are a lot of them. I'll put those in Google Classroom for you. But that's the only thing. Like, I think, again, because we're going to be talking a little more widespread conceptually, a lot of the stuff is going to be, I don't know that I can tell you exactly what you need to know. But yeah, I would recommend maybe watching a video on Git. I have one as well on that in my YouTube, but I would recommend watching a video on Git as well. Looking into Ansible. Ansible's dope. I recommend Ansible as a configuration management tool. I think Ansible is the one to go with if you're trying to dive into one. I like Chef a lot too, but Ansible is my recommendation current day and time. Appreciate the bits, everyone. Appreciate Purple Shadow. Appreciated the Dev 08. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. All right. So what are, whoops, hold on. We are now going to, what happened here? Refresh. We're not going to raise somebody. We are going to raise somebody. Are we doing Ansible? Probably. We're going to determine if we need to do Ansible, but yeah, I'm just give you a little heads up. We're going to be doing some Ansible. Whether or not we keep Ansible in the end. So we're going to be like, this digital transformation over 8 weeks is going to go through a number of processes. It's going to go through like some changes, and we're going to get a bunch of stuff in place. And then we're going to make more changes that are going to phase some things out. But we got to take those steps. So yes, we will be doing most likely Ansible. In case I don't want to try Pulumi. I tried Pulumi. I like Pulumi. But Terraform is just that good though. Lana Lux is doing her code thing. Let's head over. If anyone's interested in game dev, yeah, Lana's also she's a VIP here. Yeah, let's head over to Lana. She gave us a pretty huge raid the other day, so let's head over. And again, this is not essential. You do not have to stick around for this piece, but again, it's nice to go over, say hi, to kind of merge the Twitch communities and start to grow the Twitch community. And again, it's an opportunity. I encourage people, if you have time, stick around for a little while and look and see that person may be doing something that's like been your passion your whole life and you don't even know it. And you may have found something new. I highly encourage you sticking around. I learned a lot. I actually am really like, because I've been diving into software, I actually really want to get into the game development because so many people are doing game development. Yeah. I'm in now. I appreciate it. I'm part of the live coder squad. I really appreciate it. But thank you all for another great stream, another amazing stream. It's been phenomenal. Yeah, it's been phenomenal. See you next week. If you're interested in AWS, it might be worth your while to dive in on Monday with us back in the Horizons. If you are interested in coding, Decoded is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Bird, is that just Bird? I think it's just Bird. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. I appreciate it. You, that gives you, hold on, you're VIP. You're VIP now. 3 IRD. Perfect. You're VIP now. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's go. Oh, y'all got the hype train going. You know, I'm learning about the hype train. I appreciate it. All right, let's head over. I'm gonna go take this dinner, this catered lunch to my mother for Mother's Day. Hopefully boost her up a little bit. Take care of your moms on Mother's Day. I hope, you know, I understand it's also gonna be a tough time for people. So, you know, be kind to each other, reach out to your loved ones. I know this time can be tough because we can't go hug our loved ones. A lot of us, some of us can, but a lot of us can't as well. So, all right, everybody, have a good Saturday. I can't leave during the hype train, but I also can. Thank you everyone for the follows. Let's go overhead and say hello. I'm gonna hang out in Lana's channel for a while too. So let's raid Lana. Was it Lana _ Lux? Head over, say hi. Let's do it. We're gonna head over in 9, 8. Come on, FX 7, 6, 5. Oh, wait, I'm way slow. 3, 2, 1. Yes, Mother's Day is tomorrow. Is tomorrow in the US. Let's head over. Everyone have a good evening. Peace.